We're into the last and final set of the weekend. Hex Mambo have moved forward to the SWC group stage, Niflheim, but we still need one more team to go, and we'll find that out between the Scorpions and the Ravens. Right now, what you need to find out is how fun DKO is. Divine Knockout is out there. And of course, if you're a big Smite fan, which I'm assuming you are, you're here watching the EU SCC Challengers Championship. And so you have to imagine that you want some of the best skins in the game that you can get. And I've got good news for you. And that's that Stormy Chibi Susano is available now. You can go get it. You can earn this skin. It will be free in Smite if you purchase the DKO Founders Edition. So you just go over to Steam. It's on Epic. It's on Xbox. It's on PlayStation. Wherever you want to go, buy the Founders Edition. But Niflheim, right now, if you just want to try DKO out and you're like, oh, I don't know, do I want the Founders Edition for that game just yet?
Yeah, I do.
You do, A. But two, if you wanted to play it a little bit, I promise you'll sink your teeth into it and you will get addicted to it. It's free on Steam right now. So if you are out there curious about it, you're playing on PC, you can jump into DKO for free on Steam. I believe that's available till Wednesday. Otherwise, you'll need the Founders Edition to be able to get into play. And that's free to claim. You'll just have it on your account. You'll have full access to the game. The works, and then if you get the Founders Edition, you'll get that Stormy Chibi Susano skin in Smite to play with to match the counterpart that I'm assuming, if Susano is the reason that you're fueled beyond this, that you're probably maining in DKO as well. You seemed like you had something you wanted to say.
I couldn't believe it was a Susano skin.
I know, right?
That really, I thought it was going to be like Nemesis or another god with a sword, but
I don't know.
It was Susano.
I don't know if you remember. There's a Nemesis skin that came out, and this is going to be the last. Maybe not the last tangent. This is going to be a tangent. We'll look at the silhouette. You can see. Yeah, see, that could have been anybody.
And like you see, like the little specks at the top. I thought like maybe like a nebula type thing.
Yeah,
like a space theme, but
like
no,
yeah, could have been. He could have been just wearing a UFO on his head.
Why would he do that?
I don't know.
That's a what?
Yeah.
You're being ridiculous.
I'm being ridiculous.
You're being
I don't know
ridiculous.
if you remember. There's a Nemesis skin that when it came out, everyone was convinced that it was a gender-bent Vulcan skin.
What?
I can't. It's like the Executioner one. She's got like the mask on, like the
oh,
big
with
axe.
a big axe.
Because it's got the backpack that people were like, it's got to be Vulcan. Nobody else has a backpack. And unfortunately, it wasn't. I thought it would have been cool.
Tough.
That one falls a little flat. Just like some of these teams did earlier today. Although the Scorpions picked up the pace. They won their set. Ravens fell shy just now, and maybe by a country mile from where Hex Mambo are. One team, that is Hex Mambo, secured their group in the SWC group stages and their chance to go to the World Championship there. Ravens and Scorpions fighting for their last chance, a best of three, last set of the weekend. Loser, in this case, stays in Europe. Winner comes to Atlanta.
Oh boy.
And gets to showcase what they have on LAN. Already something that we've seen a few times this year, and we know better than to count them out. We have seen the Hounds, seen Hex Mambo. Maybe there's another team that's going to add themselves to that list that can eliminate an SPL team and step up in those group stages. And imagine knocking someone out of the World Championship would have to be an amazing look. But right now, it is all about this set for them. They can't think about Worlds until they get through here, so we'll look at the Scorpions. And specifically, Niflheim, this team, again, we talked about a lot of them earlier on. I think we actually highlighted Panvich specifically. And this feels like one, especially after what we just saw happen with Ghana. Panvich is going to have a pretty big moment, but the entire team is going to be able to match some of their pace from earlier today.
Yeah, the Aaru Scorpions were likely hoping for this matchup as well, considering the Highland Ravens have shown a propensity to bleed, not just to Hex Mambo, but to the Wargs as well. Aaru Scorpions had to go through the Wargs to get here. And Panvich, I think, a great place to start with around the conversation. More of a facilitator, solo laner, has been playing a bit more around that back line. Likes to, make sure Hawkk is making out of these fights alive, or that Spudio is allowed to cast some of that damage from a range. Otherwise, Predss has been very impressive, has been one of the most consistently impressive players in this team throughout the entire year. I love what we've seen from him. Has a diverse god pool that is reminiscent of Genetics' God Pool. I'm not going to quite give him Genetics level play. That dude is absolutely cracked out of his mind. But Predss, very good as well and capable of playing some of those most meta selections. And Hawkk out of mid at times has looked very good as well.
And especially when you throw in what this team has been able to do, specifically throwing in like Rapio into the conversation as well. I think that there's just a lot for the Scorpions to look at.
It was GunTTeRR.
Yeah, I didn't want to call you out immediately.
Call me out, man.
I was going to try to figure my way to wiggle.
You gotta call me out.
I was like, I'll talk about the jungle for a second, then we'll get in, and then I'm going to like very heavily name drop GunTTeRR.
Do it again.
You do it again? Yeah, no, so it's GunTTeRR who has been impressive.
Yes.
GunTTeRR who knocked it out of the... The Scylla play earlier was insane. I guess we'll get to see what they do angry on the other side for the Ravens. It's going to have to contend with that. My man's was free firing up against the Wargs, and we'll see what the Ravens are going to be able to do to stifle that. Not exactly the set performance they would have wanted last time around, Mifflin, to the point where I forget what most of them were playing other than adapting, and that's just because Deathwalker made a really mean play around the powwow. Like, it was not super impactful. You had said the draft that you would like.
I loved their draft.
Unfortunately, play on field fell absurdly flat.
Yeah, they just really got ran over in the early game, and I don't think that's going to be nearly as much of a concern for the Highland Ravens up against the Scorpions, who've got a bit more of a standard EU SCC pace, a bit of a slower pace, as opposed to what Hex Mambo were capable of doing, which was establishing 1,000 gold per minute played in the lead in the previous match. Highland Ravens, I think, should likely be looking to play through their duo lane. Vaporish Coast has been a consistent win condition for the squad, allowed to play aggressively at times. Not in the previous set, but I'm certain that he will be able to here. Adapting, of course, King Kenneth, a very diverse god pool, and a couple that might just be considered must bans. I don't want to see his Thor making it through into his hands. If that's the case, you might have GG'd at least one of your games here. Otherwise, Angry, likely to move towards things like the Tiamat. That was one we got to see in the previous set. Looked pretty decent until the whole team fell apart, and then it looked a bit worse, but otherwise a clean first 3 minutes of the game too.
And there is one of those kills. I mean, again, showcasing what they can do. Two-man turnaround. That was very important for the Ravens. You have to imagine, though, again, and this one comes down to very interesting seeding. Maybe showcases why these teams, Hex Mambo, #1, coming out #1 now, champion of the entire weekend. #2, Ravens, now up against #3, Scorpions. And showcase that they've been right next to each other the entire time. The Scorpions have a chance to cause a small upset, maybe knock the Ravens out of this. Imagine ending the hopes for adapting on land. I think fans will start tagging you at that point. Hold on, wait a minute.
Well, I mean, let's think about it.
Yeah.
This is adapting in like post-game doing side quests, okay? This is not the hero's journey adapting. This is not a hungry King Kenneth. My man's gone to his world championships and he's won multiple.
Yeah.
Now you know, he's leading the next generation. He's shepherding his newfound talent built around him.
And we'll see if the Ravens are going to be the talent that gets brought along. The Scorpions have something interesting for us here in game 1. Set Hercules, the Thor, you had mentioned needing to be banned, gets banned out other side. I see the Osiris, the Hades, now the Ishtar. Banned away. Instant first pick for the Cupid. Earlier we saw the Scorpions go for the Osiris, but I think we've seen the Ravens doing their homework. And now Mifflin. Cupid, I was going to say, is he first pick worthy? We've definitely seen him at the top and showcase what he can do. Plus, with the performance we've been seeing out of Coast on this pick, it feels like a good thing to take away.
Yeah, Coast has been going towards Cupid in that first selection, given every single opportunity. And so the Aaru Scorpions clearly been paying attention to the Ravens matches, decided to take that one for themselves. Gives you a little bit of late game sustain in some of these team fights, which can go a very long way, especially considering the pacing of some of the late game team fights we've had the opportunity to watch this week. Anything that can extend the fight, give you a little bit more HP to play with, is going to go a long way if the Fire Giant dance extends past that 2, 3, 4 minute mark. Tier as well, a pretty solid pickup. Facilitates this Scylla lock-in very well. Fearless and I'm a Monster combo could be incredibly detrimental to some of the picks on the side of the Ravens. But already some slight counter matchups in that Gallarhorn, the second ability from Heimdall, he goes like toot-toots with the horn.
Yeah.
Knock up immune. Can't really Fearless that, so pretty easy for him to just stand inside of the Bifrost, throw up the horn and say, hey, good luck. I'm getting out of here regardless. And an already safe pick at that.
Yeah, so should be safe. Again, this is a pick. If it was any other region, maybe even any other teams, I'd probably start picking on the Heimdall. And I will say, maybe doesn't need to be locked in that early on. Like, they got their Hunter already. But at the same time, you wanted it top 3. And Coast wants comfort. And honestly, this Heimdall has won games in the past in Europe. I'm not too upset to see it. Daji gets locked in. I expect a different performance this game than what we just saw.
Had some more practice on it now.
That's a
Not a lot, but
polite thing to say.
some.
Camazotz, Ymir banned away by the Ravens. The Guan Yu, the Cthulhu, banned out by the Scorpions.
Everything will be all right.
And it's an Artio that gets locked in here. We've been seeing Air in the SBL for a couple weeks there, was getting locked in, thrown into the duo lane, locked in, thrown to the duo lane. But now Artio Yemoja, I mean, you go back to Season 8, this is like the dream frontline for any team.
I mean, the draft top to bottom is just really good from the Ravens. Again, you've got two selections that are almost perma-bans in the SPL, Daji and Yemoja. Yemoja upwards of 90% ban rate, Daji rapidly approaching that point as well. Artio has seen a bit of a resurgence recently, has some pretty decent matchups in the Scorpions. Athena, Tier in particular, really going to struggle against that cripple field. Great ability to gap close into the backline, and the backline is likely to be left alone with this Aaru Scorpions draft. Tier, Robin, Athena going to run you down, try and make situations look good, make that dive look good, but Scylla doesn't exactly chase out the exact same way. Cupid not exactly as aggressive as the rest of his composition, so could be that this Artio allowed to do essentially whatever she wants in the back line. Whereas for the Ravens, everybody's essentially running forward, barring the Heimdall. Even Baba Yaga, to a certain extent, gets into the home sweet home, starts chasing you down while in a massive CC immune house, throwing out these firebolts. Could make it difficult for the Aaru Scorpions if they fall behind. This seems to me to be a draft from the Ravens that, with a lead, will not let up.
That's going to be the challenge for the Scorpions. Again, this is a fight for your life. Loser stays in Europe. Winner gets to come here and play in the SWC group stages. We will see, though, who can take game number 1 right here with J-Mac and Trelly.
Who's going to be the team that joins Hex Mambo and the rest of the SPL that haven't made it yet into the SWC group stage? Will it be the number 3 Aaru Scorpions? Will it be the number 2 Highland Ravens? We'll find out here in this set, all starting with game number 1. It's J-Mac, Trelly, and Doug to help bring the action. And man, Trelly, talk about a composition that the Ravens had to pick up for themselves. An Artio solo for a pretty stark front line. Then you get a Yemoja and a Daji, 2 of the most highly contested picks in the Smite Pro League. Feels like the Ravens can essentially do no wrong with a draft like this.
It does look pretty scary, but as we learned from the last set, just because you got strong picks does not mean they play themselves. You got to make sure you're on point. And, you know, Highland Ravens coming off a loss like that to XMOM, we've been talking about short memory. You know, drop that from your mind and play the game you know how to. Already starting off with a bit of pressure here just because Davey and Predss are going to clear the wave a bit faster than a Heimdall and a Yemoja. So good double taunt, going to help with some poke, guys. You can see Rapio wanted to get a bit aggressive onto the Daji. Decent matchup as well, but looks like Hunter and Rapio are going to step up here and try and put some pressure onto Angry as well. The Baba Yaga passive will help with a bit of that sustain. But we talked about it in the first set we cast today. Both junglers have Blink. That tells me one thing. They're both looking to fight as soon as possible.
Yeah, we'll see if hands start being thrown between these two junglers early on.
Oh, they throw hands.
They're going through. There's the first Blink on one side of the matchup. Going towards Angry. Rapio's Blink now down. Adapting, still holding on towards his. Wave clear should go the way of the Aaru Scorpions. That bonus clear damage for Scylla means that she should have an easier time. Baba Yaga takes a while to start scaling up in that mid matchup before she can really get the clear. Needs a couple of full waves or a couple of full abilities on the wave to drop that one down. But now Rapio's Blink down for almost 2 minutes. It's going to come down to adapting to see when he's going to pull the trigger.
Yeah, I imagine waiting towards Paolo could be the smart play. I mean, Scylla just Sentinels away anytime Trickster Spirit comes through, especially if your call is to blink in and then chase down the Trickster Spirit. Sentinel's going to get you underneath that tower, and Adapting at level 3 does not want to dive underneath the tower, despite how aggressive he wants to play. That tower really does swing, especially early on. Daji is heading left, though, possibly look towards purple buff. Was pinged out by Gunter. Maybe the red buff is going to be the call, but on the other side, Rapio going to try to invade this blue buff here from Khan. It looks like that will be the trade. Red buff for blue buff. I was going to say unless Khan could try and help out, but it looks like Silence will be able to just not steal that one away. So that's going to be the full-on trade unless Rapio gets the speed as well, in which case Adapting will lose a bit of farm, and that is going to be the call. Angry, a little too late to the party.
Does drop a potion on top of Rapio, but basically all that did was just remove the HP shield of his passive. So So it's a nice invade for Rapio in the jungle. He's going to make sure Adapting was on some of that speed, but you can see Adapting answered by taking away the red buff on the opposite side and will hold on to it. Knowing that that buff is now down, doesn't have to worry too much. So this dual lane, despite the fact that Silence and Coast have been able to really keep that pressure up in there, these double taunts by Predss early have been nice to set up some extra damage for Davey to be able to get those heart bombs, to use those Sunder procs as well, as that's the relic of choice by Predss on this Athena.
I always love a good dash taunt into Sunder. Helps melt through these tanks, help make, you know, Kana and Silence seem like they're not as tanky as they are, because once that Sunder comes through, everyone starts getting swung on, assuming that you get that upgraded Sunder, of course. So maybe some big I'm a Monster plays to be made off that late game, especially with Fields of Love. I think they've got a ton of CC to pull beads onto the tankier targets if they do decide to go towards it. Don't imagine Silence picks it up, but maybe Kana wants beads over that blink later on. I mean, RDO has decent gap closed as is with that bear form charge. But in a situation like this, where your opportunity to go to group stages is on the line, I think it makes sense that both of these teams are playing a bit more passive. Still having the blink, still you see Rapio trying to close gap onto Adapting early on, but now that Palau is available and Home Sweet Home is here, there's a lot more stall opportunities for the Highland Ravens to try and get away from Mystic Rush and not fight unless they want to. Here comes Panvich though, wrapping around from solo line. Will he be able to find Adapting? He will!
He will. Can Adapting get to the Palau in time? He's being CC'd to death. Does get up just before that I'm a Monster lands. And Adapting's life has been spared as Angry gave him a path back out with that Trickster Spirit. No first blood this time around, but all the pressure in the world now going to the Aaru Scorpions to keep him out.
Yeah, good rotation in from Panvich. Did lose the blink. And he's going to be a bit behind level-wise just because of that rotation and the fact that Kana was able to stay in lane during that brawl. But it's a tier and it's an RDO, so I don't imagine any fighting will occur in this lane in particular. Maybe once Daji rotates in. I think Adapting, if he knows Lawbringer's down, could look to try and pull in Panvich, and a kill could net that way. Just might take a bit as Davey, stuck in between the rivers, does beads. It'll be close, but the Cupid makes it out for now. Coast wants to dive this, though.
He will. Misses the ultimate. Silence will tank up the
No
tower,
way.
but now there's an Athena ultimate. Davey lives through it all. Is there a chance for a turnaround? Not anymore, because taunt is down for Predss. No further follow-up from the Aaru Scorpions. And somehow, someway, Davey makes out of one of the worst cases he could have been in this early on.
Yeah, I honestly understand the play there. Coast thought, as long as I close gap and cover the retreat and ult long, I've got Silence in the back that can just say, hey, don't worry, I'll cover if Davey walks back under tower. But with the ultimate in from Predss, that Defender of Olympus, the mitigations, and the heart and the heals, that was enough to make sure that Cupid was not able to live even underneath that tower. So smart plays. I think Davey did exactly what he needed to get out in that situation. Did lose the beads, but with Coast's ult being down, should be just fine. Fields of Love drop just to clear the wave and back up. And a little bit of an invade towards that Scorpion. The Aaru Scorpions are going to be able to take that one away and make sure the Ravens don't upgrade their buffs anytime soon.
Yeah, Rapio avoiding out some of the damage from Angry. Makes it where he doesn't need to use his ultimate or his overhead kick defensively to try and get away. Coast will pour it out and head back to base so he can pick up his Devourer's Gauntlets.
Nope.
Angry.
Well, you don't get to back.
Well, eventually he will.
Nope.
I mean, hopefully.
Uh-uh.
For his sake he will.
Nope.
Maybe. Predss. my man said, all right, well, I can't reach you
Tell
with
me he
reach, but
dies
I
for
can
it.
with Sunder.
Tell me he dies for it. It's going to be close.
Might not. Doesn't have ultimate yet. Could get yanked back in by the Palau, but
Oh, not even
Adapting
use
won't.
it. I assumed the Palau was going to come, but I guess Silence didn't have the rivers either. So if you're not pulling into the rivers there, Predss is extremely tanky on that Athena. It looks like the call was not to waste the Palau there for a possible kill onto Athena. And if I were to bet, I would say they didn't have the timer on Pred's ultimate either. They weren't keeping track of that one. So probably a smart call. But they would have been able to pull him back at the very least. And Coast missed a bit of farm because of the Sunder shot there from the Athena.
Predss is saying, I'd do it again too. I'll stop your back with another Sunder next time.
I honestly think that the mental damage that was just done to Coast is worth one charge of your Sunder, and then get to continuously sit over on that side of the map. And the reason you can make plays like that is because neither jungler is on the left side of the map currently. I mean, Daji made the rotation over, Adapting, realized there was no kill. And now back to farming over towards blue buff, speed buff, that sort of thing. Playing very slow, but very calm and collected, I would say, are both of these squads.
Tournament life is on the line for both of them. This is no longer, set one of a bracket where, okay, well, we lose here, we can always make the run back to the lower end of the bracket. This is the lower bracket. This is the final set of our weekend for the EU SCC. One final opportunity for both of these teams to make it to the group stage, and they're going to start off strong for the Scorpions, adapting again, forced defensively into the Palau. He'll pull Rapio, but no, he won't actually, because there's too much immunity for Rapio to get through. Double root onto Silence. Sunder hits, but that's slow a little bit too much. Even with the extra taunt from Predss, no one on the Ravens will go down. No kills for the Scorpions.
Yeah, it seems like Rapio's one goal is to just make sure he's always around this dodgy, immuning that Palau and being an absolute bully with no beats available. Adapting was CC chained into that I'm a monster, but went up into the Palau and was going to be just fine. Has not been able to net a kill just yet. And since Panvich has Lawbringer, I don't imagine is in any sort of danger here. And actually, with Predss on the way, this blue buff is looking a little worse for wear. Not too much mana. And it does look like the Aaru Scorpions are able to steal that one away and Lawbringer out. But here comes Angry, and they want to chase this down.
Adapting's here as well. No Palau, but not a lot of follow-up. Angry will go up into the house, but he is doing next to no damage to
He
Predss.
was chunking.
Chunking it for 50 at a time on my man. Another 15 of those, and you may have gotten him. But he's only got 4. So there will not be a kill on the right side of the map either, despite the fact that there were like 6 or 7 people over there. Everyone going to be able to walk away from the blue buff engage.
Are you leaking new Baba buffs? Does she get 15 shots in her ult now?
That would be insane. What if it was like you got a shot so long as you hit somebody with one of your others, so you can just keep going until you can't land a shot?
That'd be disgusting because you also gain even like, you gain more stacks while you're in the house as well. So as long as you're hitting, you can just get free stacks on your items. You have a fully stacked item.
You gotta hit a god though. You can't be like throwing them at minion waves to keep it going. It's not like Ama ult where as long as you hit literally anything, you get the extra enhancements.
Why are you trying to make your made up broken ability less broken? Just keep
Actually,
it
you know
going.
what?
As long as you hit something. It could be a minion, could be a
I hit the air, bro.
You hit the ground, that'll even reset it here. Still 0-0, 10 minutes in, but now the Pyromancer has spawned in. So you can tell the Aaru Scorpions, good taunt on Angry, will grab the beads, are trying to set up towards this Pyromancer. They would love to get aggressive on this side of the map, just by nature of winning the current fights. I think that GunTTeRR's been hitting extremely hard on the Scylla, but more specifically Rapio on this Robin can step up and feel extremely free as long as that overhead kick is available. That's why we're seeing a bit of a grouping towards this Pyromancer. But now the Highland Ravens are grouped as well. Looks like they're just going to back off here. No pulls and no more aggression. It's still been Predss, though. Keep your eyes on this Athena. That dash taunt is usually what sparks these fights.
And you can see that because Predss recognizes he's one of the primary initiations, going towards a little bit of extra defense for himself, maybe a bubble to help him out. So once he dashes in, he's not CC'd immediately, or maybe can avoid one of these initial Palau pulls from adapting to be able to fight back in. We're approaching 12 minutes, not a single death just yet. Roundup of the gold is just about even. GunTTeRR able to get away from a stun from Silence. And back with that gold, 250 give or take, and then only about 1,000 XP between these two squads. Nothing really having been fought over yet, aside from, I guess, buff camps more than anything. Rapio has been at just about every one of these buff camp fights and skirmishes there, but Pyromancer is on the table now. It could be a call. Trebuchet is on the map for mid. I'd imagine this would be an opportunity for the Highland Ravens to try to push somewhere.
Or an opportunity to get 3 Trebuchet shots onto a tower and retreat could also be the call. As Rapio takes a bit of damage here from Angry. Defending the tier 1 tower is the call.
There's 3
for the Aaru Scorpions. They're going to go for 4.
Can they get the legendary 4th? No. Wait, maybe? Hey, there it is. 4 Trebuchet shots.
That is massive. That tower is now
That's
underneath half, but Predss does dash in. Remember, Angry's beads are gone, and he's taking big damage.
Aegis will delay a bit. I'm a Monster misses the house, and Angry cancels it instantly to use the blast off, but Panvich and Rapio want this first blood, and they'll get it. Rapio takes down Angry, but as Rapio stepped too far forward, will go down to Silence on the emoji. 1-for-1 trade, mid for jungle.
And that's going to be worthwhile there for the Aaru Scorpions. Getting that first blood bounty, certainly good. And it looks like the Highland Ravens are going to be ahead in gold, even off of that trade. But I think just being able to take Rapio off the map is definitely a win there for adapting, because you're just going to be able to steal away a bit of farm, get ahead in the meantime. For another 10 seconds, Rapio isn't clearing any camps or doing the jungle. And that really does start to add up. Great patience, by the way, from GunTTeRR. Recognize, hey, angry speeds are down, but the Aegis could be available. So I'm going to hit the one off the taunt, but not pop my crush immediately so I can get even more damage. Unfortunately for GunTTeRR, it's kind of difficult to hit a free Alma monster, especially when Angry knows it's coming. Was not able to confirm that kill. It was the dive, the blink dive from Rapio that was able to get the kill onto Angry. And I'm sure GunTTeRR would have loved to get credit for that patience. Not going to be the play. Another thing to note, I think Davy's been getting a little behind here from how much Coast has been free farming and also stepping up towards this purple buff. Hasn't been able to invade it too much. That is going to be an attempt that doesn't go down, but this Cupid is falling behind and getting chunked in the process.
They forced Coast swinging on the Heimdall already. I think you're right to talk about the purple buff invade attempts that have come from Highland Ravens has really forced Rapio to rotate over and drop the buff for Davy, so he doesn't get credit for the experience. Gets the buff, which is nice, but doesn't get the extra benefits that come with dropping a buff. Highland Ravens start up the Gold Fury. All ultimates but Silence are back up, and maybe that's enough for the Ravens to see how fast the Scorpions will respond to something like this, but not willing to make the commit just yet. Nice Silence will get rooted out by Rapio, but still waiting a little bit for that ultimate. Maybe then we'll see something come from this Umoja. But that first blood bounty effectively nullified by the immediate kill after that return kill that did come over towards Silence. Has ended up at least keeping the Highland Ravens at pace with the Scorpions.
Certainly is. And that Gold Fury is not going to be looked at as well. I'm still surprised the Pyro hasn't even been attempted. It's just been all pressure on the left side of the map, I guess. As you highlighted, because Vapor's Coast is ahead, Rapio has to rotate over. And because everyone's going over to left lane, it seems like instead of fighting right, which is usually the call, oh, you're over and left, we're going to pull Pyro. The Highland Ravens have been matching that aggression and also heading over to the left side of the map. And if you do put too much potential over towards the right side, you're going to lose Gold Fury, and that's always not good. So you're going to see Davy made the rotation mid, wanted to see if he could join up, maybe see if he could drop a Fields of Love in mid. There was no opportunity to. This is still going to be a full-on reset back to the old farm game. None of these neutral objectives are being looked at. I imagine Pyromancer and Gold Fury will go untouched for a while unless we see even more brawling towards these buffs.
Let's get an over-under from you, Charlie.
All right.
20 minutes, first Pyromancer. Over or under? Like does it go
I'm
beyond
hoping
20
under. I'm
or,
hoping
or
under.
before 20?
I'm thinking under. I'm thinking this game's very close to cracking open, especially if Coast gets like half an item more, he's going to get bored. And he's either going to make a play or he's going to rotate and try and force something. That's my imagination. And already, the Gold Fury's being started up.
Well, it's no Pyro, but it is a gold to start the battle. Scorpions dive in. Silence chunked out. I'm a monster. Just a little too far forward. That might be just enough of a window of opportunity for Silence. No, the dive in by Rapio is good with a Mystic Rush. And that's another kill for the Aaru Scorpions, who will now make their way over towards the Gold Fury. No, they won't. Maybe adapting. And Kana can distract them long enough. Beads away from the Artio. Dash not going to be slowed down. The Aaru Scorpions with the power play, the one-man advantage, should head over towards Gold Fury. A couple of them are. But Coast is getting a lot of free farm in this lane. He can rotate over and see if anything can be done about this. Gold Fury down to a quarter HP, and the best confirmation being GunTTeRR means that the Scorpions get their pick, they get their objective, and it will be an under, Charlie. 17 minutes for the Pyromancer for the Ravens.
Yeah, I'm not so sure that ends up being worth. We're going to see exactly how much the Ravens are able to grab in the meantime. It looks like gold's going to be net even, so at the moment the Aaru Scorpions are getting the better end of it. It's just Adapting was able to push a wave under, steal all the farm away from the Aaru Scorpions, as well as Coast was pushing waves under, has 3 levels on Davy. I guess 2 full levels now, call it 2.5, over this Cupid. So the Aaru Scorpions are happy to get that amount of gold, but still the Ravens are ahead, because if you're giving up 2 different waves as well as Pyromancer and all of your jungle on the right side, I think this XP is really what's starting to add up here. Rapio's been very keen on being able to get to the backline and confirming some of these kills that get away. I say some, but there has literally only been 2, where Rapio sees a 1 HP target, goes and dives. Once it was angry, that time it was silenced. So that's why Rapio does have a bit of a lead in the jungle currently to adapting. But again, if I'm the Highland Ravens, I'm saying, how can we fight around this Heimdall, and how do we get Coast to fights? Because itemization-wise and just levels, this Heimdall's looking deadly.
Good lord, man. Why am I ever surprised with how much damage a Scylla can do at this point?
I mean, look at Silent's build. He went Thebes, damage, Fizdie.
That now checks out why GunTTeRR with a poly shot is doing upwards of over half of Silent's HP basically by himself. May also come from that Splashing Sunder that Predss is now upgraded, and the Ankh fully upgraded as well. Rapio's been a part of 100% of the kills in the game.
And 100% of the deaths.
That's what I was saying. He's been a part of 100% of them. He got his team's 2 kills and his team's only death so far. He's been the momentum setter for his team, or maybe it's been Panvich who's really been the one trying to get active for his squad. Will force adapting and angry to back away. So a fight on the opposite side is good. I'm a Monster connects this time to silence, but even the walls of the River's Rebuke will not keep him alive. He goes down. Rapio able to stop adapting with the help of the Fields of Love, but can the ultimate do it? No, it will not. The chains, not enough damage from adapting. The Scorpions able to make their way out of the team fight, and another pick for the jungler.
They're trying to retreat. And it looks like the Aaru Scorpions are going to be able to reset there. I'm not sure if the mitigations from Defender of Olympus were enough to save Rapio there. Like, maybe it was going to live regardless. Pally doesn't do that much damage, but either way, great use of Mystic Rush, as well as just making sure that Predss showed up to help so that adapting couldn't continue that chase. Rapio has died for those dives in the past. This time did not, sitting 3-1 for the Aaru Scorpions. And another thing, Silence needs defense, man. Like, in the meta that we're currently in, Silence, hold that thought, adapting, absolutely gone.
I think you nailed it perfectly. Dash taunt to death at this point. That's Sunder coming in to really make sure that there is nothing left of Adapting's health bar. Rapio looping around the backside. Ultimate up in a few. Dash taunt by Predss. Gets ultimate away from Angry. Gets beads away from Silence. Panvich will make sure that Kana cannot join this fight. Predss will go back to base though. Ate a lot of damage going for that play, but didn't come up empty-handed. Again, beads removed from Silence makes this a bit easier to take down the Emoja.
Yeah, my point is, Silenced is going to finish Emp Armor, Sovereignty, whatever, and then go into Sentinel's Embrace, so it's going to be quite some time before a magical defense item gets built. You got to imagine GunTTeRR gets full build, or at least, you know, level 20 Scylla with extra damage and Sundering Blast coming through. I think Silence could be the first target for these fights for quite some time, just by nature of the way this Yemoja has elected to build. And just losing your Yemoja before the fight starts, definitely not easy. And you're giving a potential reset to GunTTeRR. I think the Aaru Scorpions have their game plan. Wait for an objective, taunt in the front line, Sunder, kill, repeat. That's got to be the call. And already, yeah, GunTTeRR finished up that full Obsidian Shard. So I'd say Pendulum of Ages will be finished before magical defense is even looked at here for Silenced.
So for the Aaru Scorpions, it seems that their winning strategy is pretty easy. You get Athena taunt into Rapio or GunTTRR's damage. And if that's not enough to kill, then you have plenty of dive with Panvich and Rapio. For the Highland Ravens, though, where it seems that most of the team is starting to fall behind or adapting, losing out in farm to Rapio, Silenced just kind of getting bullied right here. Angry's kind of sitting even right now, but I look at the side lanes, and this RDO hasn't really been able to get too involved yet. Vaporish Coast has been left on island. Maybe we see a pop back from the Ravens once these two side laners join the fray. Level 20 on Vaporish Coast. Do you think that that might be an avenue where the Ravens can get back in this?
Oh, most definitely. I mean, Kana is extremely tanky. Way different build there from the RDO, as well as the Spirit Robe just pulled the bead. So it could be taunt into Sunder, which it is. And where's the Scylla? Oh, there it is. I'm gone.
Jeez, that's a double kill to start for GunTTeRR. And it's just a case of lather, rinse, repeat.
It doesn't get easier. It does not get easier.
Predss literally walked up, dash taunted, said, okay, cool. Beads are gone from you. Beads are gone from you. What am I going to do next? I'm gonna dash taunt the two people I just got beads away from.
Sundering Blast, hit both of
Sundering
them.
Blast.
Double sick 'em, double I'm a monster.
It's just that is textbook. That is like just what is 2 + 2 4? How do you kill those two? Well, you add the other. I don't know where I was going with the math equation there.
Baby's first smite engage. That's what it was. And
There
now
you-
Fire Giant being pulled. I'm a Monster is gone, but Adapting and Angry have ultimates here. They have to try and get in now if they want to try and stop a defense.
Fire Giant, quarter HP, Angry not able to steal it away. Porsche Coast teleports a little far back, and Angry tries to get in there for that Pyromancer, but the Aaru Scorpions have complete control of this game. Fire Giant, Pyromancer, 5,000 gold, and all the momentum in the world over the Highland Ravens.
Yeah, now they've got all the time in the world to just back up, get the tier 1 over and right. And that's going to be the call. Davey and Predss will retreat after that, then head over to left and start knocking down the rest of these towers. Every tower was available, and you're saying 5,000 gold. That's before the Fire Giant siege even begins. It is going to climb exponentially if the Highland Ravens cannot form some form of a defense. We've been talking about, you know, Coast getting involved. Unfortunately, if your front line just dies, it's very difficult to be an ADC. It's very difficult to be a backliner when your front line is just getting dash, taunt, sundered, dead. And that has been the process here. I'm keeping my eyes on Predss, and I'm waiting to see who's he gonna dash, taunt, sunder next. It looks like if Silence step up that wave, that would have been the call. Luckily, Silence did not. Something to note, the beads are available though. Beads are back for Silence. Kana still doesn't have them. 27 seconds before that relic is available, so probably wanting to stay away from the Aaru Scorpions in the meantime, but running it down mid, tier 2 towers being looked at.
Coast also without beats for 80 seconds. But Coast and the rest of the Ravens going to wisely not step up to the tier 2 in mid. That one crumbles to the Aaru Scorpions. They take their opportunity. Just rar at me?
No, Scylla rared. I just repeated it.
Okay, got it.
Yeah, when you back, she just goes, rawr.
You know what? Fair enough.
I mean, we got...
No, you're not wrong. You just threw me for a loop there.
Sorry, man. I didn't mean to roar at you. I just saw Scylla do it, and I realized, hey, they're probably backing up. They're not going to fight for another couple of seconds, so might as well roar at you.
As long as you don't throw an XD at the end of that roar.
Nope, I would never. I'm going to continue to watch GunTTeRR and Predss, because that is where the action has been occurring. And it seems like both beads are available, so rinse, repeat. That was your phrasing, and I imagine that's the call. Predss dash in, taunt, pull the beads off of either Kana or Silenced, and then wait a couple seconds and do it again. Kana is stepping up towards the tier 1 at the moment, but it looks like the rest of the Scorpions probably smart to wait a bit, because a River's Rebuke could be waiting for them around the corner unless their grip is 5.
Kana spots out Panvich and says, I see you there. No cheeky Lawbringers from Panvich. They know he's here too, by the way. He just walked over a ward. Adapting and Angry, or at least Angry will step forward and let him know he's there. Panvich will spawn, adapting out, silenced. Gets away from the I'm a Monster, but not the Fields of Love. Ultin by the frontliners, the triple dive to the back line. Doesn't net anything as far as a kill is concerned. Adapting, trying to take down Rapio. Beads are gone. Adapting turns it around for 1, but Adapting will go down in trade. A 1-for-2 trade, and maybe 3 if Kana didn't have those beads ready to go. 4 still strong for the Aaru Scorpions, only Angry and Vapor's Coast to defend against the tower, and they might not stick around too much longer as tier 2 falls.
Yeah, certainly worth it here. Predss does find the taunt, taunting Angry out of the pot, and that will be the beads. Is it a stun? It is, but no follow-up to come through, just the crush. Now this left side bird being looked at, and a Sundering Blast thrown to Kana just to say, you better back up. That left side Phoenix is gone. And the Aaru Scorpions got what they came for as Fire Giant falls off here in 15. No, I lied. They want a little bit more.
Yeah, Kana no beads. Heart Bomb stuns. That sets up for the training wheel combo for Panvich. Davey gets credit to the kill, and probably should be credited for oh my god.
Goodness.
What? That's all right. That's,
Go away.
That's menacing, bro. If that comes yelling at me down the lane, I'm running for my life.
I just realized just how small and cute the carries of the Aaru Scorpions are. It's like Cupid and Scylla, but they are doing so much damage. It is not cute at all. It's absolutely menacing. You see these little children running at you. What are you going to do?
run in fear, bro.
Yep, go through the Bifrost. That's what Make Force Coasters did. Absolutely ran away. And it looks like that's gonna be the call. Wait, we gotta see GunTTeRR back so that you can get RAR'd out again. It's gonna be right after this red, I'm sure of it. Maybe.
Okay, there it is. Okay, there's the RAR. I don't know. That one's like kind of adorable. The other one was just menacing, dude. He was just like,
Oh no, that was like a spam.
he was instilling the fear of God into me with those ones, man. I'm not stepping up to GunTTeRR anytime soon.
I wouldn't anyways. Look at the build.
And if
fully online.
And if I'm the Highland Ravens, Trelly, I'm banning that Scylla away. I'm not letting this man get another opportunity to pop off. He had a 5-1-6 performance earlier on, now sitting 2-0-6 on the Scylla. Hasn't gotten too many of the last hits, but has definitely gotten quite a bit of damage out there, sitting second on the charts for his team.
I mean, I'm either banning the Scylla or the Athena. Like that setup has been so clean, and you can't frontline when you're just being taunted into damage. And it looks like another taunt comes through, but Adapting immunes it with that Powwow. As the Aaru Scorpions are still stepping up towards this Fire Giant. Second one of the game. It'll be enhanced in 50 seconds. Do the Scorpions want to wait? Seeing as Fakura's coach is gone. Oh, there it is.
Kana.
Yep.
Well, he'll try and help silence, but there's no help for the dead at this point. I'm a monster. Will clip Kana and force the RDO back. No teleport to rejoin this fight. Fire Giant has respawned in, but the Scorpions are unconcerned with it at the moment. Still a tower left standing, and left side needs to be defended soon as Fire Minions start to creep their way up the lane. Poly shot to about 450 or so from GunTTeRR there, so tower goes down swiftly, and the Scorpions will back towards Fire, nearly bait Kana forward, and that would have been a dash taunt to death, considering he's at a 100-second cooldown still on that relic.
It's really unfortunate that Kana does not have Blink, because the counter to Athena is blinking the taunt and just killing the backliners. You can't really make that play when you have beads and teleport, so Kana tries to dash in, already done, and here it goes. Taunt into the Sunder with no follow-up, though. The Aaru Scorpions are playing this one slow.
Adapting, tries to take matters into his own hands. Will get the Aegis away from Davey as he gets pulled back in, but angry credit to one. Kana takes out Rapio. I'm a monster off the mark by GunTTeRR. Panvich gonna try and stop Kana from pushing forward. There are 5 of the Ravens, though, chasing out the 3 Aaru Scorpions. But that's as far as the Ravens will go. 2 down for the Scorpions, 2 Fire Giants taken out.
Yeah, that's enhanced Fire Giant, though, and that is going to be absolutely massive. I don't think you even need an ADC at this point. When you've got a Scylla with poly shots and enhanced Fire Giant, these birds will certainly still go down. The Aaru Scorpions did lose a bit of their relics in the meantime, though. Gonna need to fully group up if they want to try and defend these birds. And it looks like the Highland Ravens probably have an opportunity to clear out these fire minion waves for the time being. Because 14 seconds on Rapio, 10 on Davey. Still a couple minutes left on this enhanced Fire Giant, where the Aaru Scorpions are going to be able to group up with Predss. Beads down for silence for a couple seconds, but more importantly, adapting for 100 seconds. It's going to be difficult to exist as this Daji unless you're searching through the jungle to try and find an ambush, and it looks like that's what the Ravens want. But the Aaru Scorpions are not going to give it to them. They're going to stay back until their team is grouped up as 5.
That might have been the first team fight that we saw moments ago, Charlie, where somebody that Predss dash taunted that didn't die like post 10 minutes or so. Because every other time it's whoever Predss grabs, they're dead almost instantly immediately after, sometimes before the taunt even fades away from that CC. The Aaru Scorpions, with their final Fire Minion wave, will push up to the left side Phoenix. It has respawned, but it's at a quarter HP. Panvich will just blink past the door, but a River's Rebuke will keep him separated from Predss and the rest of the fight. Predss able to TP out with his ultimate. Panvich will dash through the other Phoenix over in mid, but the Aaru Scorpions are prepped. They're ready to go. 30 seconds till Adapting gets his beads back. Look how far he is keeping himself to stay out of this fight. Predss is waiting for his target, but there aren't too many more windows of opportunity before those beats start coming back up.
Yeah, Panvich going uncontested at the moment in the back line, whereas it seems like now the engage might begin. Predss goes in, this Phoenix is getting low, but it looks like the backup is going to be the call here. The Aaru Scorpions are not ready to full commit remember, they were able to get 2 ultimates down, Angries and Silence, just for Predss stepping in. And once again, the taunt is able to pull 2 beats that time.
Angry and Silence are gone. GunTTeRR almost dead though.
Adapting.
The Aegis isn't enough. Kana gets one, adapting. Can he find another? Beads gone from Davey, but through the realms into the ground comes back Predss. 1 hit away. Who's gonna get it? The king himself, adapting. Grabs his second one of the game. The Aaru Scorpions again, down 2.
And this is where this combo gets a little bit more difficult. Rapio is sticking around here. I was wondering what kind of play a single Robin is going to make up against 5 Highland Ravens, and it turns out the play is to run. In the meantime, the Highland Ravens able to group up towards mid. They have a wave as well. It's Phoenix defense time, I would say. If you are the Ravens, you should be looking to at least go in here. No ultimates that are that important, but Mystic Rush and the Lawbringer are coming through.
15 seconds on GunTTeRR, 25 on Predss. Mid Phoenix down. The Highland Ravens, off of 2 defenses, are now pushing to the throne room. Davey loses the Aegis and his life. Angry, credit to the kill. The Titan under fire. Have the Highland Ravens turned this one back around. GunTTeRR has returned for the grave, but doesn't get the kill with the dunk. It's adapting, who takes out 1. The Titan is so low. Can Vaporis Coast do it? Yes, he can. The Highland Ravens have turned it around for game 1.
GunTTeRR went so big on that defense. I really thought if he got the connection on I'm a Monster, the reset might not have been enough. But you know who went even bigger? Vaporish Coast. Absolutely mad in the Titan room. They needed as much Titan damage as possible. They couldn't mess around and go for picks. They just focused on Titan damage, and the Heimdall was able to get it done.
Heimdall with the splash autos that come through there, the Odysseus bows that were slamming through every single person and adapting to really help that one out as well, keeping GunTTeRR zoned out or keeping them out of that fight there. The Highland Ravens turn it around for game number 1. Can it take it in 2? It's going to be close. We'll find out after this.
Well, the Ravens, over 10K gold down, Niflheim. And then a defensive spot not 30 seconds out from the end of the game. Win game number 1 here. And they look, it looks interesting doing it. In fact, to the point where I can't even remember. I turned my attention away for a second. I hear you just go, "Oh, GunTTeRR, don't fumble this." Turn around, see a massive defense.
You didn't have to expose me like that, man.
What's
Come on, bro.
Okay, you're right. I heard someone in the building
Yeah, there's only
may
5
or
people
may
here
not
today.
have been Mifflin, but probably wasn't in this instance.
Who could have been? Oh.
Yeah, you know what? Dave showed up for some reason. He walked into the room, and he said, screw that GunTTeRR guy. I can't even go on with it. I can't keep the straight face for it. Yeah, it's just an unfortunate play at the very end that falls apart, and then the Ravens blitz it down mid, and almost fall during the Titan siege, but they get the last hit, and that's all they needed.
I have seen it too often this week that the Highland Ravens win condition is being like 15,000 gold down. It's just happened a few too many times. It's been a bit too consistent. Seems to me that a lot of the teams in the SCC are really struggling to push their leads, really struggling to close out these games, and the Ravens are very good at punishing teams that are a bit slow on it. The only squad that has been consistent in their ability to absolutely dominate with that kind of lead has been Hex Mambo so far, or at times the Ravens when given it. So if I'm the Ravens, I'm concerned about the early game and only the early game. Let's say clean it up a bit. Let's not get as overextended. If I'm on the Aaru Scorpions, I'm saying GunTTeRR maybe don't frontline on Scylla, because that's not exactly an ideal place to be. That's the air quotes fumble that somebody had brought up, was when he walks up on that left side Phoenix, and then immediately the rest of the Aaru Scorpions crumble around him. The Highland Ravens able to cleanly win immediately afterward. And I think a smart call to go for the end there. Sure, it's a bit risky, nearly turns around, but playing into a deficit like the Ravens were, had they slowed it down, had they reset, wait for another fire giant, try to get their Phoenixes back up, it's pretty likely that you're just not able to win from that position regardless. So given the slightest opportunity, go for the end, it works.
And we've seen too many games in instances like this. In fact, between the Ravens and the Wargs yesterday, instances where a team could have won early on, but didn't want to take the quote-unquote risky call, and then get dragged out 66 minutes and potentially either still win, but at that point, do you feel as good about it, or lose, and then you definitely don't feel good about it. So make the risky call, make a risky play, but get a high reward because of it. 1-0. And one step closer, Mifflin, to go into the SWC group stages if you are the Highland Ravens. And so, Aaru Scorpions on the other side, having to hit the reset button, though admittedly, not for a majority of the game. I mean, go back and cut that one. We look at the 12-minute highlight there in that reel. It's like 500 gold separating these teams. Suddenly you jump to the 25-minute mark, and it was 10,000 gold, 8,000 gold separating these teams. It becomes a lot easier if you're the Scorpions. Your early game was good. Just clean up that last little fight, and things will clean up for you, and you'll maybe push us to game number 3. We'll see if they can do it in picks and bans here for game number 2. The Ravens are, again, they're probably stoked, man. You come in.
We got a free one.
We got a free win. And you are pushing yourselves to try and make it to the SWC group stages. Scorpions feeling the same way. And so far, the bans, I won't expect too many changes. Maybe the Scorpions shift something up.
I don't know. I would say if either of these teams are looking at broad sweeping adaptations going into game 2, it should be the Ravens.
Yes.
The Scorpions were winning for 80% of that game. 85,
maybe even more,
90% of the game. They were winning until GunTTeRR walked into a Phoenix, essentially. And then afterward, everything kind of falls apart. And that was maybe a 2-minute window, or about 90 seconds, however long GunTTRR's respawn was.
Yeah.
So that is, I think, a little bit more indicative of the pace of the early. If anyone's changing it, it's got to be the Ravens. The Aaru Scorpions, if they're allowed to run back the exact same draft, I'm sure they would.
Well, Angry locks in the Scylla. And I can't imagine with anything other than hold on, let me show you how late game Scylla goes down. Hopefully, for his sake, and now for mine, since I've said that, he actually makes it there. They get that alongside an Athena. You were talking about the tier combo with the Scylla last time around. Now you've got an Athena, a taunt into an I'm a Monster. Much easier to pull someone in, maybe, than to try and get that push. So it feels like a pretty deadly combo.
Yeah, it is. I mean, just consistent lockdown into I'm a Monster is always going to be strong, be it a Confound or a Whirlwind of Rage and Steel or any form of Guardian support that's got consistent AoE CC. Makes it just so much easier to execute on Scylla's game plan. Daji fits that style as well. Hey, I'm going to pull a bunch of people in. Please have I'm a Monster ready for it. And I trust the Ravens to be able to execute on that combo. I like what the Aaru Scorpions have lined up for themselves, though. You've already got a pretty aggressive Hunter with the Cupid, so your dual lane, regardless of Guardian, can probably look for pressure no matter what, but there are some Guardians out there that would facilitate that style a bit more so. Things like the Maui, somehow Yamoja makes her way through as well. Xing Chen, very strong in that matchup, so the Scorpions, if they so choose, can really line up a duo lane that can facilitate the early. Tier as well, we talk about that CC into damage combo from the Ravens.
Yeah.
Tier's passive, good luck CCing this guy. You know, at longest it's 1 second, and at shortest it feels like it doesn't work at all with how DR stacks with his passive.
Yeah, very slippery God when it comes down to it, and very much a nuisance if he's played well. And last game, like you said, 80, 90, 95% of it feels like was a nuisance for them. It is a Raven ban to try and, again, limit more of what the Scorpions were playing there in game number 1, alongside a Ymir ban, Heimdall on the other side. Definitely a little wiggle room in terms of the carries. Chernobog is going to be the next one, Niflheim, that gets banned out. And so suddenly you're going a little further down the line with Ishtar, although Kernanos is still up, and we saw a lot of him at the beginning of the week. It's kind of faded out here as we've gotten towards the end, but it feels like could be an easy pickup for a duo lane.
Just a real strong Hunter, ain't it? But it feels like real strong is sometimes not strong enough for the USCC. Keep your eyes on the screen. Yamoja's still available, and I'm thinking probably going unpicked here, which is, in my mind, a bit criminal.
Yeah.
That God is just so valuable at the competitive level of play. The displacement, the walls, you constrict the relic selection of the enemy team. Not many gods are legitimately forcing Phantom Shell. Ymir, Yamoja. Who else?
No one else.
Who else? No, Odin, but Odin's like real bad, but yeah, it just feels like...
Good luck to anyone who locks Odin in right now.
Yeah, Uzi's logged in, bud. He's going to be
you're
doing
right.
it next week for sure. But instead, it's the Fafnir lock-in for the Aaru Scorpions. Generally, Fafnir is flanked by double Hunter, be it physical or magical, but this time only a singular. Don't even exactly have an auto attacker out of the jungle either, so this is Fafnir not selected for the Coerce, but for every other part of his kit, which is pretty decent disarm, which has smart matchup into the Daji. Very telegraphed. She wants to go in with the one auto-cancel combo. Can't do it as easily if Fafnir is playing heads up, single target CC through the roof from this pick, but just feels like there were better Guardians out there.
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned at least the Yamoja on top of that.
Oh, Cabrakan.
We had
That's
also
probably a Phantom Shell force. I mean, less so.
He could force one, though.
Yeah,
but
but
yeah, we've definitely seen it have to be
those
forced.
walls get broken.
And are, well, but they're also super irritating. Unfortunately, no walls this time, so no Phantom Shells in the conversation. The Ho-Yi last pick for the Ravens. We'll see. Can they close it out and go to the SWC group stages? Or the Scorpions push us to 3? We'll find out with J-Mac and Trelly.
Well, for the Scorpions' sake, they're hoping that it does not end here up against the Highland Ravens, jumping into game 2, which J-Mac, Trelly, and Doug. And this Camazotz pickup, we've seen it a couple of times so far this weekend, Trelly. 100% win rate. When it has been picked up, we'll see if Rapio can carry the mantle for his team and for this pick in general to keep that rate up. Or can the Highland Ravens join Hex Mambo in being the other team to qualify to the SWC group stages? And all of last game, Charlie, I mean, this was an Aaru Scorpions game 1 through and through. Until one Phoenix Siege goes bad on the left side, and then it turns around, Highland Ravens sneak it out at the end. Maybe a kill towards Silence could start things off great for the Scorpions, but Silence able to walk away, pops a couple of those health potions through. He'll be able to resustain slightly, but he's in no position to fight inside this lane.
Yeah, not anytime soon, just because of that Invader's Curse as well as Heart Bomb and the Hammer coming through from Predss, doing a fair bit of damage. But once again, we see both of these junglers going towards the Blink. I love seeing the aggressive starts here, especially from a Camazotz. Adapting, going back to the Daji, honestly a bit surprising, but I think it's a pick that he just didn't want to give over to the Aaru Scorpions. And I suppose if you're just trying to be aggressive and force damage, Daji does that quite well. Playing through a Guan Yu as well.
Whoa.
The early gank onto Panvich. Where's the power cleave? Is it going to come? It does, but not too much healing.
It doesn't go very far either. with the changeover in stance with the Fearless. And first blood to the Highland Ravens and on towards Kana as well. It's going to make it a bit dicey for the right side of the map. We went nearly 12 minutes in game one before we saw a first blood go through. That process expedited a bit here by the Ravens solo lane.
Yeah, now you're able to get first blood onto Kana. It's going to help out playing through the solo lane. You probably prefer that kill goes to adapting, but as long as you get first blood pre-2 minutes, I don't think you care too much as to where that kill went. More importantly, Panvich does not have teleport, so has to foot it all the way back to base, and that really does start to add up. Missing a bit of minions to tower, that sort of thing. So I expect to see adapting heading over to right lane more often. You know, maybe trying to play through that lane, trying to invade blue buffs, that sort of thing. Because you can get tier off to a bad start, which they have. You can really bully and try and get ahead. Or more specifically, get your Guan Yu ahead. But seeing as Kana's out of mana, there's no way adapting wants to fight, and heading back over towards the own blue buff will be the call here from the Highland Ravens.
Yeah, both these junglers just making sure that blue does go to their solo laners, make sure they don't lose out any experience as well. Hawkk used to guarantee the purple for its second spawn for the Aaru Scorpions, a silenced. Even despite almost dying earlier with the Invader's Curse, still wants to walk into enemy territory. 2 levels higher this time, though, so a little bit safer.
And there's no
Athena.
Invader's Curse.
And there's also no Invader's Curse.
I think that's the big difference maker
Maybe
there.
so.
Didn't get...
I don't know, you got 3 abilities to you versus the 1, which I believe was Shield Wall early on, so probably feels good having, you know, a dash and a taunt to get people away.
Yeah, and it helps you out try and confirm the buff. Unfortunately, Predss held onto that Hawk, so... You know, we've seen more Hogs messed up as of recent than pretty much I would expect. Like, it's 200 base damage. You'd think that's just easy confirm onto the buffs, but with how much CC these Guardians have, you never want to get stunned right before that threshold. You don't want to get taunted right before that threshold like that, for example, Silence. Easy taunt onto the confirmation there for the Harpy. Those sort of things are spooky, so you got to make sure you're pre-hogging in those instances. But adapting hasn't really tried to get aggressive past that early cringe gank on the solo. Has access to the Powwow now. Blink is back off cooldown, and the full Jotun's Wrath is completed, so I'd be looking for Rapio here. I mean, no bat out of hell, no beats. That Camazotz could be a decent target, but it doesn't look like they're going to meet up just yet. Maybe here in mid, but should be hitting level 5 with this wave anyways. Rapio doesn't have to fear too much, as adapting actually might wait around the corner. Yeah, hit bat out of hell, so no longer wants to fight.
I think had he not hit 5 on that wave, that's probably the call for adapting to jump in. Maybe get beads from GunTTeRR and see if he can get a pull on towards Rapio, but doesn't end up being the case there. Rapio does hit 5 inside the wave, so he'll have access to bat out of hell. Won't have access to beads until like level 12 at least, whenever he gets a chance to go back. So instead, we'll farm out the blue buff, play a little bit safer on this Camazotz. Meanwhile, adapting with the assist that first blood earlier, had enough to go back and get his Jotun's Wrath earlier on into this one. I'm looking across the board once again, Charlie. I'm seeing Tier, a lot of self-sustain, Camazotz, a lot of self-sustain. We've been seeing Soul Gems super popular amongst the mages, and GunTTeRR on Agni would be no exception to a pickup like that. Have to imagine that anti-heal, probably the name of the game for both these squads, honestly.
Yeah, could be the call. I think it kind of hurts to get anti-heal on Scylla, not build-wise, like it's not like it's a bad item, but it starts to feel bad when you want Poly and Soul Gem and Book of Thoth and Obshard and Rod, and you're like, well, I have to take one of these away for a Divine Ruin, but GunTTeRR has no problem. We'll be able to get it first item just to deal with some of that healing that comes through from Kana. And you got to imagine a little bit of a fight here, just on to the Greater Scorpion. No fight back, I should say. The Highland Ravens got no problem going for the invade, taking that and getting out because there were no Scorpions in sight. Besides the Greater Scorpion that they took. Trying to force out the ult here from Panvich, but does not care about the cavalry charge. That horse does decent damage if you can shred the Telu Assault first, but that's a tier, and Panvich is going to be just fine walking that one away.
Some decent sustain for Panvich as well. The solo lane probably not going to be solo killing each other anytime soon. Going to need a little bit of extra assistance from the junglers or maybe the mids rotating over to help out on that one. But as the offering starts to spawn in, we'll see a few of those picked up by the respective teams, see where that first trebuchet of the game will go. We kind of joked it about on the walk-in into the studio here, Charlie, about how, you know, the Athena Scylla worked so well for the Aaru Scorpions that the Ravens, questionable dash in by Angry, but Raven said, hey, that worked pretty well for you guys. Maybe we just do it ourselves. As they, you know, they draft the Athena, they draft the Scylla. Adapting goes in on GunTTeRR. GunTTeRR still holding onto beads. Angry, I'm a monster hits, but not going to be a kill. Maybe a turnaround to Angry with Rapio and GunTTeRR coming back, but no chance there. Aaru Scorpions mid laner gets out with his life.
Yeah, I was thinking a possible Pal-Out, but it seems like Adapting almost never goes for the Pal-Out just to get beads down. If he's ulting, it's probably for a kill, or the kill is the idea, at the very least. Good on a monster from Angry. Not going to get too much down, though. Just a little bit of damage, as well as Predss using that ultimate to try and get aggressive. But now Adapting will be able to go for the regank. Silence gets credit for that kill, and that Agni goes down. Unfortunate for GunTTeRR. You always got to watch out for the Dashi that's lurking, waiting for you to try and lazy back. So second kill of the Highland Ravens goes over towards the Athena. So tanks looking good. they're going to get some extra farm and have about a level up throughout. I would say that Kana's got to be close to level 9, whereas Panvich should be just hitting that mark.
I wonder if maybe GunTTeRR was like window shopping there for a moment, seeing what items were there going to him, what he could buy. Obviously, he's going to be tier 2 of some lifesteal going towards Soul Gem, but then all of a sudden he hears an audio cue of a swipe. He's like, oh no, and has to immediately close the store and try and live for as long as he can. Unfortunately for him, there was also silenced on the way with Adapting. So 2 kills to the Highland Ravens.
Your team
About
has fully powered the
1,000 gold
enemy
for the Ravens now with that obelisk going to the Aaru Scorpions. So Highland Ravens still holding on to a small lead this early on in the game.
They are, and like I said last time, Pyromancer is always that call. That's where I think that they should really start to force. But it doesn't seem to be the play style here of really any of the teams, besides maybe Hex Mambo in the EU SCC. Just because, you know, you have a lead does not mean that Pyromancer comes easy, especially with both of these mages. I mean, GunTTeRR and Angry, the Scylla and the Agni have a lot of damage you can kind of just chuck over a wall to try and disrupt an objective pull. So it can be a bit sketchy, as Davy is sitting here without beads for 30 seconds. Adapting knows this and would love to pull in Davy before those 30 seconds are up. But it looks like the Cupid is going to stay underneath that tower, at least for a bit. I mean, Silence made the rotation over as well and said, hey, I can taunt and set up the Pal-Out for you. And it looks like finally Davy will be got here. Will the Pal-Out connect, though? Doesn't even need to.
No.
Goodbye.
And a little bit of a taunt. As classic for the kid himself. Silence jukes out the stun, but there's 2 of them that come from Predss. 1 from the jump and 1 from the breath. Rapio takes a shot from Crush. Bat out of hell still available to the Camazotz, but Adapting won't use the Pal-Out for offense. It'll be used defensively. So he goes back with the rest of the Highland Ravens and makes a 1-for-1 trade.
Yeah, Rapio's going to be able to get his first kill. And now it looks like a possible look towards the Red, but not going to invade without the ultimate. Bat out of hell would help in that situation. And it's one of your best engage and disengage tools there for the Camazotz. So, like the idea of just stepping up. The Highland Ravens have been able to pull ahead a little bit, 1,600, about pretty close to 2,000 gold at this point without doing any of these neutral objectives. And that's all without fighting with Kana. His level 11 Guan Yu has been pretty dominant over on the right side of the map. Not like Panvich is ever in any danger of dying, but farm-wise has been able to pull ahead on this Guan Yu just by nature of First Blood. There is no Draconic transformation available for Predss, but that leap does close a large portion of the gap that he would need to, so should be just fine trying to get away from the taunts.
You know, funny enough, I think those minions almost saved him from being pulled into the Crush. He was kind of being body blocked by them. I think one got shifted slightly. GunTTeRR not going to go down. I'm a monster held onto by Angry. Maybe they can use it to go for a rinse repeat over this time towards the support. Adapting is here. Taunt on the Predss. Right into death. That's 4 for the Ravens. Can Rapio find a return? Only the bats to Adapting. Who dashes back out with the rest of his team. And the Ravens put up their 4th kill of the game. 2 of those for Adapting.
And once again, if you look over to Coast, has that 2-level lead. Of course, it was a good gank by adapting that put Davey so far behind, but already the Gold Fury going to be started up here. Defender of Olympus channel. This should be absolutely free. There's no way Davey gets up in time. I'm a monster just to make sure that Gold Fury goes down. So an 11-minute Gold Fury. Smart calls by the Ravens. This is what I expected. Anytime you get a lead, you really should be able, especially if you have a big burst mage like Scylla, for example, you should be able to make calls like that, but Angry might walk up. Ooh, that wall. Unlucky there for Rapio.
It's a solid wall.
Yeah, that Screech is not... That blocks sound waves.
Yeah, they got the soundproof rocks out there to make sure that the Screech doesn't go through, make sure that nobody else can hear it besides Rapio. But Highland Ravens with a 11-minute Gold Fury, 3K gold lead. Maybe a good turnaround for the Scorpions to take down Coast, who's been bullying Davey for so long in this game. Perfect window for the Scorpions to make some kind of claw back.
Certainly is. They should be able to push at least one wave underneath that tower. You can tell the Highland Ravens all moving right. They're heading towards that Pyromancer. No I'm a monster available. And I think GunTTeRR could be able to step up. No, not even in time. It looks like Angry has the free confirmation there. Pyromancer as well, going the way of the Highland Ravens. Going to push that gold lead to 3,000. About 13 minutes into this one. So just great presence of mind. If you're going to put 3 members of your team over to the left side of the map and trying to gank duo, that does open up an opportunity to grab the Pyromancer.
Charlie, we're moving 5 minutes faster than last game. As far as the objectives were concerned, it was a 16-minute Gold Fury, a 17-minute Pyro in game number 1, and we're looking at 11 and a 12 respectively. Bombs all expended by GunTTeRR. A couple of them clipping Angry, who's able to use the Alma Monster to clear the wave out with Ice Silence. The Ravens mid laner maintains his beads, holds on to his life as well. We'll immediately go back and pick up Polynomicon's second item. Instead to expedite the build, get that burst damage on just a little bit sooner.
It's going to be the call. I think a possible sell, though, just because, oh no, they're actually going to commit to it. I was going to say a Soul Reaver, Obsidian Shard. We were talking about the Divine Rune. There's a lot of different options you could go, but it looks like you're right. Angry's a reader. Wants to get as many books as possible, 3 currently, as we see a bit of damage going the way of Predss. But because that Fury's down, and because that Pyromancer's down, don't expect too much commitment. I want to see Kana rotate out, though. I got to be honest. That Tier 1 tower, maybe after that drops, the rotation can come, but the team fights have been going the way of the Highland Ravens as is, and they haven't even used their Guan Yu yet. Now, GunTTeRR taking so much damage.
But there was no crush follow-up, so GunTTeRR lives for only a brief moment longer, but the burn was on adapting. It's a 1-for-1 trade-out between the teams. Panvich blinks past Kana, Lawbringer into 2, Fearless onto 2, and will try to take down Angry, and he will do so with the help of his support, who dies all the while. 2-for-2 trade. Panvich still alive, but he and Rapio half HP, while the rest of the Ravens go back to base as well.
Yeah, good ultimate there from Coast just to help heal for the team. Only 2 down at that point. Could have been a little bit worse, but the Highland Ravens still leading. Rapio smart, gonna get another passive stack and make sure to take away the purple buff in the meantime. And Davey has been able to really climb back in XP-wise into this game. You can tell build-wise, down a kin size, but I imagine has the gold in hand to finish. Actually doesn't, about 600 off, so still a little bit behind gold-wise. 2 Vaporsh Coast, just by nature of that Gold Fury and that Pyromancer that have went down for the Highland Ravens. But has been able XP-wise to climb back in, both sitting at level 14. Because all the relics are available, I didn't think left lane would be where the brawling would occur. Look at the mid laners, both missing beads and Aegis. So I think Rapio and Adapting have some opportunities to try and get aggressive towards these mages. And I think that's why the Daji is sitting in the mid camp, just in case GunTTeRR walked up. Could have been a possible pal out once that comes off cooldown, but not going to show up just yet. GunTTRR staying pretty far back, recognized, hey, this Athena keeps dash taunting me, and I don't want to be dash taunted at the moment.
Beads are still down for a few seconds, but they'll be up for the next fight. Aegis will not be back for about another 60 seconds or so. The Scorpions mid laner still wanting to play a bit passive until those relics are back and available to him. Kana pushed away by Panvich. Damage by Rapio. Not very relevant there. Decent healing coming from Kana keeps him sustained throughout this. He can just grab himself another heal once it's up. There you go. Another one available to him. Highland Ravens, even despite all this pressure they've exerted across the map, still only sitting a little over a 3,000 gold lead. That 2 for 2 kept things close. Silence misses the taunt on Rapio. Dash in by Panvich, hits adapting. Kana still playing that front line for his team. Has to dash away, transform out of Predss. With the leap not connecting to anybody, the Aaru Scorpions will have to back away.
Yeah, interesting. I guess Predss really wanted that kill, couldn't find it. Now heading straight for the Oni Fury with this Draconic transformation. Coast spotted it out, so the rest of the Ravens should be on their way, but adapting was stuck in base at the time, so this is going to be a true 50-50. It's only Coast who's going to be here in time. Maybe drop the Suns and go for a bounce, but here comes Angry as well.
Suns are there, Fields of Love as well. Scorpions get the Fury. Can they get out? Stun is on 2 from Kana. Predss trying to find a path out, but he will not. It'll be in a body bag instead. Back to the base for him, but the Aaru Scorpions, they trade out their support for a Fury, close up some of that gold, only 2,700 now between the two teams. Aaru Scorpions might be calling that worth, if not for the fact that a tier 1 tower also drops to the Ravens, maybe even a tier 2.
Davey doesn't have the ultimate. Those 3 archers need to die for this tower to stay up, but can't get the heart bomb, can't weasel it in until GunTTeRR shows up and try and help out. It looks like that tier 2 will be given up on here by the Highland Ravens. I'm surprised about that Gold Fury attempt. Not the fact that it went to the, not the fact that the Scorpions stayed on it, but the fact that the Highland Ravens weren't able to steal it. I saw Angry's ultimate. It looked close, but it looks like not close enough to confirm that one. As you say, closing up the gold lead a bit, the Aaru Scorpions have been able to find a bit back into this game. Fight-wise, it just seems like objective play has been nice. Where'd Davey go?
He's hiding.
He's underneath it. Oh, there,
there he is.
Doug just zooms in. Hey, man, I found him. He was hiding under the trebuchet. He didn't want to fight anymore.
I was wondering, I was like, there was a trebuchet there. Where'd it go? Why is Davey not moving? No, he's holding on. Making sure the trebuchet doesn't lose too much of its value before it's able to get to the tower, which is where the real value would come from, or at least maybe to distract Coast with rotation over right. Pyromancer's back up. I thought maybe that was where the Scorpions would want to head to. Now that they've kind of preoccupied Coast with a trebuchet in his lane, but instead it might be a rotation from Rapio and Davey to catch out the Hunter. Beads Aegis available for Coast. That's going to be the beads to get out of Fields of Love. He's got Aegis, but he might not even need it. Instead, it might be some help needed for Rapio and Davey. Silence does not go in with the dash taunt just yet. Coast is out, only loses beads ult.
Yeah, losing the beads and the ult not going to be the biggest hit, but Panvich would love to grab some beads here as well, whether that be from Angry or adapting. I'm sure he would have taken either, but not going to have any opportunity to do so. You highlighted the Pyromancer. I tend to agree. That should be where Coast is heading now after losing the beads over and left, and the Ho Yi does seem to be pathing towards that objective. But losing your beads is a little bit of unfortunate, especially with a beads tier, I mean a blink tier rather. Panvich lurking behind you. If Coast gets pushed in, could be deadly. The Highland Ravens are grouped here. They're going to make a pull onto the Pyromancer. Still, Davies on the way, but no Fields of Love for the time being.
Predss almost gone. Maybe if that Sunder connected before the stun, could have seen the kill on the support. But now Rapio in danger, jumps away, has to bat out of hell, because he's lost the rest of his safety. Beads still available. Once he crashes down, Silence. Lather, rinse, repeat, but Predss has a hammer a little too fast for that taunt this time.
Yeah, now Pyromancer is going to be the call once again. Crush, enough to confirm that one there for the Highland Ravens. And it looks like the fight after the fact is not something either one of these teams are looking for. That gold lead climbs to 4,500. If this is anything like game number 1, the team that gets ahead with Athena Scylla will dominate the early game.
Oh no, is that the curse we have now?
But an unfortunate turn of events could occur. I mean, so far, the Aaru Scorpions have not been able to find the actual fight wins. They've been finding minuscule picks here and there. So this has all been Ravens dominated so far with that gold lead, and also with their ease of engage from Silenced. And Kana has been in these fights as well. This Guan Yu been able to keep everyone sustained. Top damage by a wide margin here, by about 7,000 on this Guan Yu. It's probably a good call. Adapting's lurking over left though. Davey does have beads, but it looks like trying to take this fight is the Taji.
Adapting will dive in. Talau gets away from Fields of Love. Beads removed from Davy. Once again, Predss gets the hammer before a dash taunt could go through from Eye Silenced. Fury's going to respawn. About 40 seconds. The Ravens want all the advantage in the world to start this one up. I'm a monster off the mark by Angry. Would not have killed Rapio just yet. Maybe a full combo. Could be a turnaround for the Scorpions. Push Kana against the wall. But GunTTeRR's in danger. So is Angry. Rapio even more so will heal on landing from the bats. And able to get away for now. Predss jumps out. The Aaru Scorpions on the retreat.
Definitely an interesting ult there. I mean, Bat Out of Hell was up in quite literally 1 second after I'm a Monster landed, but I'm assuming trying to force that ultimate was the call. Angry still did incredible amounts of damage towards Rapio, but the Gold Fury is spawning in, and no one from the Aaru Scorpions are even close. So this one will go for free, but look at where they're headed. Right to that Fire Giant. Adapting is going to know this is coming immediately as well, but no powwow just yet. The Aaru Scorpions have plenty of burst, but the Ravens need to get over here ASAP.
Do have Silence wrapping around the back, stunned twice. And that will mean that there's no possible pick for the Ravens just yet. But good news for the Ravens, they scared the Scorpions away from Fire Giant. Maybe not to start it for themselves, but at least to delay things just a little bit longer. Ravens did get that objective over by the Gold Fury, or should I say got the Gold Fury. That continues to net them more and more of a lead. We're starting to push upwards of 5,500 now for the Highland Ravens experience, a little bit less so at 3,500. But, I mean, based off what we saw at Game 1, Charlie, we can't consider this lead safe. I mean, we were looking at 13, 14,000 that the Scorpions had up, and it all went south on one Phoenix Siege. Not saying that we're going to see that exact same thing happen here in Game 2, but just goes to show anything is possible in a game of Smite, especially if you can find a nice pick maybe on this Guan Yu, who stepped a little far forward. Predss finds the hammer. Rapio gets the screech, but unfortunate for them, Cavalry Charge still up for Kana to escape.
Yeah, Kana should be able to spam some heals onto the team as well as get some dashes and get that reset onto the hordes before the fight breaks out. I was wondering when Davy's beads would come up. About 20 seconds. Remember, Adapting had a decent gank onto that Cupid. Was not able to find the kill, was able to get the relic down, but it doesn't seem like any fight will happen to try and make use of those down beads, whereas Angry has 0 relics for the next 40 seconds. And also Kana had to use a teleport and doesn't have blink for another 45, so could be a risky fight here. If I'm the Highland Ravens, I'm at least stalling this out 30 seconds until my Scylla gets online. But it looks like that's not the call here. The Ravens gonna begin the pull. Silence has that dash charged up, trying to find a taunt, and here come the rest of the Scorpions.
Fire at half. Ravens back away from the ejected. They unleash the Fire Giant. Rapio steps forward. Will be able to back away. Bomb stun plus follow-up bomb. It's decent damage from GunTTeRR, but doesn't really have the damage to drop Kana too low himself. A lot of HP on this Guan Yu. Rapio does manage to jump away before the taunt connects from Silence. That potentially would have cost him his beads had that CC landed.
And that's coming into play here. I think that Silence needs to stop taunting in Panvich just because the tier, putting the tier in combat, there is value in that for sure, but the taunt just doesn't last long enough for the rest of the Ravens to follow up. A taunt onto Predss means so much more. Getting that Magi shelter down as well as only 2 items onto a Fafnir. That character could certainly die, but the Fire Giant has begun once again. And this time Silence actually getting poked out a bit.
Fire Giant low. The Ravens have committed to it. They get fire. But will they even be able to escape this fight? Silence stunned by Predss. He's down. But it's 1 for 1. Davy out of the fight. Angry gone. Rapio with Panvich to the backline have kept the carries from joining the fray. GunTTeRR stuns out Kana. But Kana's still going to push forward because he's got Adapting right behind him. GunTTeRR with both relics should be fine. Coast lives at the end. And Adapting turn and burn on the Predss. Not quite enough. Maybe it'll be good. Towards Panvich with the help of Kana, but a dash in by GunTTeRR shuts down the jungler of the Highland Ravens. GunTTeRR still alive throughout all of this, but it's low health bars for everybody on the Scorpions. GunTTeRR just gets the dash back in time. And Kana with the Cavalry Charge could find a kill with the help of Coast, but doesn't need the ult. Instead, It's a boxing match back in, forcing the bat out.
Yeah, unfortunately, Vapor's Coach was only able to find some damage onto the tank. I was thinking maybe GunTTeRR could be in some danger there. Beautifully timed Aegis. And I think that Kana does the Guan Yu job perfectly. Tried to chase that one down as much as possible, but the Highland Ravens are going to keep the Fire Giant on 2, on the Guan Yu and the Ho Yi. So definitely not terrible. You still have your damage dealer towards these objectives, the Ho Yi, doing plenty towards the towers that you're going to be looking at. But Pyromancer and Oni Fury could be the targets. Oni Fury won't be up for a little bit longer, but that Pyro still stands tall for the time being. And the Highland Ravens would love to push this gold lead even further. They're not in a position where they can look for Phoenixes just for free yet. They certainly need to break these towers down as well as get a little bit more gold in pocket before they're feeling confident enough to dive. But Relic's certainly down. Davy could be an easy target. Beads Aegis down for another minute. GunTTeRR luckily was able to hang on to those beads during that engagement, use the Aegis, but won't be fearing any powwows anytime soon. And it looks like that is the call for the Ravens. Wait for this Pyro, or sorry, wait for the Oni Fury, and then maybe look towards this left side tier 2 tower to try and push that gold lead up even more so in their favor.
The Highland Ravens, again, mirroring game number 1, a 6K lead before the Fire Giant siege even begins. Now the Ravens will group up left. First tier 2 tower on the menu is the one of the dual lane. Silence charges up the dash. Ricochet just off the mark. Will Silence go in with a dash taunt? Doesn't seem that anybody from the Scorpions wants to step up there, and probably wise to think so. As one little misstep could cost either your relics, your ultimate, both of them, or your life to drop there. So the Highland Ravens will take their first tower, start pushing up the minions in mid, and work towards their next tier 2.
With double blink here from Panvich and Rapio, I don't think waiting for the taunt from Silence is going to be the call. If Silence dashes in, I'm making the play. Blink that taunt and try and go to the backline. It looks like Silence will get sundered, taking a lot of damage and push back under. He's gone.
Panvich steps up big for his squad, helps to find a pick, and one for Davy to get the credit on the kill. But Silence didn't have a Fire Giant going into that fight. He's one of the 3 who was dead before the buff could really get anything meaningful going for the Highland Ravens. Not the end of the world, does stop the tier 2 siege and might be just enough to stop this Fire Giant siege entirely. Only 30 seconds left on the buff for the Highland Ravens. So they'll take their defeat in the mid, back up, spend up some of their gold, and maybe send this Trebuchet down soon. This Fire Giant comes up in 1:15. The Highland Ravens with a slight lead, but the Scorpions not losing out on a Phoenix, not really having any threat on map, can step back up to try and defend fire.
Yeah, they can. That is going to be the call here. As you said, once those Oni minions were taken care of and no Phoenixes have been broken up, they don't really have to put their attention anywhere else but towards this enhanced Fire Giant that will be spawning in here in about a minute or so. The Highland Ravens, I guess both teams looking very confident relic-wise. It's just the itemization that is much in favor of the Ravens still because of that goldie they've been able to build for themselves. Adapting and Kana, full build minus relics. Angry's very close, and Coast is also there. Whereas there's no one besides Panvich that has full build on the side of the Aaru Scorpions. They really need a little bit more damage if they want to match exactly what the Highland Ravens were able to output here. But getting some vision down, dropping those bracers, and getting prepared. If you're looking at EFG confirm, look no further than Angry. That is your best option, but with Rapio and GunTTeRR having a lot of range damage, and of course, Fields of Love can definitely create a little bit of CC that can disorient the team and prevent that objective from getting confirmed.
Enhanced Fire is crashing down. Angry used his confirm last time to guarantee the Fire Giant for the Ravens, and the fight went south after that. So maybe for the Ravens not wanting to depend on I'm a Monster to guarantee the objective. The Ravens not going to push too far forward. Aaru Scorpions going to stay back and keep their frontliners a bit spread here as Panvich goes to the far right. Predss to the left. Fire Giant started by the Highland Ravens, but quickly stopped once Panvich steps in.
Yeah, I mean, this is the call, right? Bait them in, and then Silence is able to find a dash taunt. Unfortunately, it's usually been met with a hammer from Predss and then tons of DPS coming from the rest of the Aaru Scorpions. So I don't think Silence wants to go in by himself. Maybe if Khan is able to close gap first, could be a smart idea. Panvich loses that Magi's, but a ton of poke coming out from GunTTeRR onto these tanks, trying to help get those shields gone. I think it's going to be a full-on reset here. Now the EFG's being pulled, but a little bit less safe are both of these tanks now that their Magi's bubbles are gone.
Beads still available, though, to Panvich.
Ooh.
Crush. A little over a third of GunTTRR's HP from that one. We'll have to stay a little bit further back. The Ricochet not going to find anything from Vaporish Coast. Fire Giant. Taunt. Not even sure it got anything there. Predss transforms. Silence is almost out of this fight already. GunTTRR. Aegis's. Panvich gone. Kana takes him down. Predss pulled back in. And Coast actually kills GunTTRR with what looked like to be an Odysseus bow proc there. Rapio, though, finds a double kill. Coast low. Triple kill for Rapio. Kana gets away from it. I'm a monster. Does not land on Rapio. Rapio still battling through. Screech. Not good enough for the damage. Rapio alive, but on his last leg. His monitor actually even went gray that time around. Does find the damage, but not gonna find enough against Angry. Nearly a quad for the jungler, but only Pred's alive for the Scorpions.
Yeah, Angry was able to get the shutdown, though, so extra gold going the way of the Scylla, and that round of Tahuti will be finished up. What an absolute brawl. 9,000 gold in, and the Aaru Scorpions still able to make plays like that. In all theory, this should be relatively easy for the Highland Ravens to force fights. Unfortunately, Silence is not tanky enough to live through these engagements. As Athena gets the double taunt off, was able to pull Magi's from Predss and Panvich, but the second Fields of Love, the Draconic Transformation comes through. The Athena just can't make it out. I'm thinking dash taunt, then Channel Defender of Olympus, and Hope is the only call. Now, Kana and Angry are going to start this. I highly doubt they stick on it. The second Predss walks up, might be the retreat call, but here comes Silence, Channeling Defender of Olympus. Are they going to commit to this?
This is a weird call by the Highland Ravens. A juke of the Fearless. Panvich is disrupting this Fire Giant, which is still active. Nobody has confirmed it yet. Adapting goes to the powwow. Ravens get the fire, but Panvich takes out Angry. Pred's yanked back in. And a wild call by the Ravens. Nets 4 for the enhanced Fire Giant, but you lose your mid laner for a minute.
Yeah, I'm thinking that's worth it as long as the Highland Ravens are able to full-on retreat and then group up and just put up a bit of a defense here. Enhanced Fire Giant on 4. Definitely a worthwhile trade, but what happens here? It looks like the Aaru Scorpions are going to set up a bit of a gank, but who's going to walk up towards speed buff? Possibly Kana. No ultimate available, but you're definitely hearing that transformation. Kana knows exactly where Franz is. He says, I like being big. So
is that the line that he says?
Yeah, on that skin when he goes from the dragon back to normal map, he says, but I like being big.
That's great.
So that's why that gank didn't work, because he just hears that from behind his speed buff.
You know, we always shout out, you know, like the art department, the environment department for the map stuff they make. I don't think the sound department gets enough love for some of the lines that they come up with. I don't know if that was a Tina line at one point that maybe came up with that one there, but shouts to our sound team for coming up with some great lines for our gods to say that keep us entertained here on the cast, whether it be the RAR from Scylla in the little plushy skin or the I want to be big. Or
just ruining the gank opportunity.
That too.
I mean, there does have to be a sound cue to let you know that the dragon's going down. It's just funny in that case. But like I said, 4 strong with enhanced Fire Giant, all relics available for the Highland Ravens, and they're able to siege forward. One more tier 2 down, as Adapting should be pushing up right here. If the Highland Ravens can play this patiently, Adapting should be able to pour over. You got to imagine Rapio to the right side of this map, as well as put some pressure towards this Phoenix. And it looks like because of that enhanced Fire Giant, Adapting will be making short work of these towers as well. The Aaru Scorpions have shown they've got the defense down under the Fire Giant, but under the Phoenix, you'd think, with that Emperor's armor, could go a little bit better for him, but not into an enhanced Fire Giant. That's going to be scary.
Rapio 1v1 on Adapting before the powwow gets through. Adapting is dead. And the Aaru Scorpions, with that one singular pick, have scared the Highland Ravens away. They're going to fly on back to base. And the Scorpions can maybe thank Rapio for making a huge hero play like that.
Wow, I'm amazed. Adapting. I thought channeled the PAL out quick enough, but apparently was not. Rapio just does so much damage. One swoop of Bat Out of Hell is enough to shut that siege down. And all the work the Ravens did to get that enhanced fire giant is gone. Now it's going to be a full-on reset, as you said. Another 1 minute or so with the buff. So I guess the call is, what will the Ravens do in the meantime? They've got 20 seconds without their Daji, and they are sieging up mid lane. But the Aaru Scorpions hiding in the jungle. Once again, you know the call. They're going for the loop around. No dragon transformation to let them know. And here comes Silenced. Is he walking into the Wolf's Den, though? It looks like he is.
Double Fields of Love. Catches Kana, catches Silence. Silence lives through a lot, but he walks back in to the fire and the flames of GunTTeRR. And he will not carry on. Aaru Scorpions move to the Pyromancer instead. They'll take that one down. Close this one up a little bit more. The Highland Ravens, man, Charlie game one, it was the Aaru Scorpions who botched a siege over on the left. Phoenix wasn't to say that the Ravens dropped their siege on the left, it's that they never got the opportunity to do so because of the pick on adapting. Yeah, Scorpions, you can see that nearly everybody full build. Predss is the only one who is missing out on that last item. This is essentially just a dead even game at this point.
Certainly is. Highland Ravens have taken some stumbles here, and it looks like just playing for one more Trebuchet could be the call. While waiting for that enhanced fire giant to spawn in here, 45 seconds away. I talked about all relics being available, and that is still the case besides Adapting's blink. That's about 10 seconds away, as well as Panvich needs a blink, and that's about a minute away. Besides that, everyone locked and loaded, ready to brawl at any moment. And it looks like that is the call. The Aaru Scorpions first ones to set up presence here at the enhanced fire giant. A bracer drops down, getting some extra vision and helping with the damage as well. And the Ravens are playing this one smart. They're grouped up as 5 when they walk up, and I'm just going to step up by themselves. That was immediately pinged out. So it seems to me that the Aaru Scorpions are waiting to see who's going to step up. Kana goes first. Definitely the smart call, because Kana is the one with the CC immune ultimate that isn't just going to get chain stunned to death. But certainly walking up on a ward. Plenty of wards, I should say.
Oh, they know he's there.
Oh,
it's in the mist, too.
I think everyone knows where everyone is currently. As Davey attempts to start Fire Giant for a second.
Kana, wow. Damage by Rapio and GunTTeRR. Really starts to stack up this late in the game with those Soul Gem procs. Transform out of Predss. But what's the call now for the Scorpions? Is it to grab Silence? Is to get Coast? It is to go for Silence. Once again, not even a chance to get out. But Palau up for adapting. Can he get Kana? Can he get GunTTeRR? No, he cannot. GunTTeRR was able to get out of that. Kana, though, half HP. Guan Yu and adapt to the backline will be once again erased by Rapio. The Aaru Scorpions jungler comes out twice in the 1v1.
I mean, there's just no way Silence hasn't picked up a Magi's yet, man. The play has been the same every single time. Just stun, Fields of Love, kill the Athena. Oh, now we're 5v4. Let's win the fight. Unfortunate, but someone's got a front line, and Silence and Kana have been the call, but Kana has that CC immune ult. Now, with 2 dead, and you don't have Davey as well, the Highland Ravens have a decent opportunity to try and step up here, just because of the fact that they don't have a Hunter to actually help with the objective. Coast and Kana on the way, and here comes Angry. I'm a Monster is available.
Bombs are there. Who gets it? Aaru Scorpions do. Does the I'm a Monster land? No. Panvich flips right over it with the Lawbringer, and 4 of the Aaru Scorpions have the enhanced fire giant around their waists this time around. 40 minutes in, the Aaru Scorpions have made their turnaround. Still down just a tad bit in gold. At this point of the game, 5K is negligible as they start going back. Full power potion and a red elixir for Rapio. He was already hitting Angry for 600 damage on a Screech. Let's bump that up a little bit more. He could be 2-tapping this carry.
At what point does Silence realize that that Spirit Robe needs to be a Magi's? I would say 30 minutes ago, but at this point, I don't know. I mean, the mitigations from the CC is clearly not enough to survive. And if you want to be the initiator, if you want to dash taunt, you can't get CC chained to death. But I guess you're going to be under Phoenix now, so maybe the call is dash taunt in, Sunder, die, but you've done enough that the rest of your team can pop off and succeed while you're trying to keep those Phoenixes up. Just keeping the Trebuchet back for the moment, as the rest of the Aaru Scorpions are all sitting here. Do they think the Highland Ravens got EFG?
Do they not? What is happening?
I'm assuming they think they're getting ganked.
What is going on? Why are the Scorpions eyeing down the Ravens from across the map?
They think they're being ganked, bro. That's the only thing I can think of.
I'm so confused. Finally, the Trebuchet gets let go to walk on down there. I guess to wheel on down the lane.
Yeah, look, they're warding behind every corner. I saw Predss walked up and dropped a ward, and I imagine it's gonna do the same. Yeah, he's just like, where the heck are these guys? They're waiting for you in base, bro. You got enhanced fire giant.
The Ravens are sitting on the other side going, bro, where are they? What are they doing? Like, are they going for a gold fury? Are they just like waiting for an item or something? What's happening? Both these teams are scratching their head wondering where the other one's at. But the Scorpions do finally push forward. Tier 2 in mid.
That's their first tier 2.
Gone. Oh my god, it is their first one down. Good Lord, Charlie. What is up with us in getting into EU games 40 minutes in? They're still tier 2 standing for one of these squads. Aaru Scorpions will move the second of the 3. One in right still stands for solo lane. Now the Aaru Scorpions push over towards left. Drop a bracer down. That'll give them a little bit of a boost of damage and movement speed. The Aaru Scorpions might need every little bit of it to break the base of the Ravens.
Certainly will. Another minute and 11 seconds left on Enhanced Fire Giant. Silence isn't even charging up that dash. Now is. Does not want to step up into a Fields of Love. That is a death sentence for this Athena, as we have seen time and time again. But Panvich is staying out of combat, wanting to blink to the backline. That has also been a bit of a death sentence. When this tier can close gap and CC chain, doesn't look good. I'm not sure exactly what the Scorpions are waiting for. They've got the wave coming in now, and Predss is going to look towards Silence, and that Athena.
No, he is gone. Third time that he's walked into a Fields of Love, and third time that Silence has gone down. It is a man away from the Highland Ravens. Stun, hits Coast. Panvich will pick him up and force the beads out. But it's just the left Phoenix that the Scorpions take for now. 20 seconds left on their buff as they march towards mid.
Yep, and now with that draconic transformation, should be even easier. Carries, boosted up, adapting, looking to go to the back line, but I imagine the Aaru Scorpions in a position where they just want to go for that tier 2 tower in full-on retreat. Enhanced Fire Giant turns off in a minute, but the buff is already gone. So they're going to have plenty of time to grab this last tower. They've got the waves to do so, but the Highland Ravens base looking a little bit worse for wear. Someone is going to have to defend left lane. If you're defending EFG, mid lane's not going to be the problem. You can defend that pretty easily, but left lane, I don't think you send Kana, even though the teleport is available, because Guan Yu takes half an hour to clear a fire wave, whereas, you know, adapting Angry or Coast could do it extremely quick. I wouldn't be surprised, though. The Highland Ravens don't even try and defend EFG. It's just too difficult with 2 birds down. One misplay and your whole game is over.
Charlie, I've cracked the code.
Lay it on me.
If your team is winning super hard in the early game, don't go for the duo Phoenix.
Okay, why?
So last time, Scorpions were winning the whole game. They go for left Phoenix. They die on a siege.
Right.
Highland Ravens win. Highland Ravens have a huge lead. They go to left. Now, they didn't actually get to have a fight at left Phoenix, but the majority of the team was over there. Solo kill to right Phoenix. That's been thwarted. Now the Scorpions are fighting right back in. The Scorpions haven't won just yet, though. They've been able to claw their way back to a dead-even game with the Highland Ravens. 2 Phoenixes down. The Ravens are on a timer.
Oh.
Silence. Not in the Fields of Love this time. Kana against 3, adapting. Barely makes it to the Palau. Can he even pull anybody back? Kana gone to Davy. Rapio removes adapting. And the Aaru Scorpions have 2 down for over 60 seconds.
They are going to go for the Enhanced Fire Giant. Fire minions pouring into the base of the Highland Ravens. It looks like they've made their call. They don't want to defend under Titan. They're trying to make a play here. And I don't know if that's the call. Silence is absolutely gone. And now it's Coast and Angry. Both have their ultimates. And it looks like Coast back was stopped.
Angry, can he help out his carry? Coast buys some time, but the ages are there for everyone. I'm a monster slams, but it's not good enough. 1 kill does not a turnaround make. The Aaru Scorpions, they fight back And Charlie, we're going to game 3.
We certainly are. All I know is that I hope neither one of these teams pick Athena Scylla next time.
Oh no.
It's not a good look.
That's the losing formula.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It looks really good early, but unfortunately there's something, it was a jinx, and I think both these teams lost their early lead once they relied on that combo. It's not actually true. I think it's just unfortunate that great defense is played by both of them, and we were destined to go to a game 3 here today.
Well, we do have that game 3 now between the Highland Ravens and the Aaru Scorpions. The number 2 and number 3 seed of SCC bouncing in. We were talking about the gap between 1 and 2 versus 2 and the rest there. Seems that this gap may be a little bit closer than the Ravens are comfortable with. We'll see if they or the Scorpions will be the ones to move into the SWC qualifiers right after this break.
I've been loving every time I could call you mine. I don't know why I'm being the one feeling stupid. I'm feeling stupid now. So now it's time for the goodbyes. Everything dies for the sunrise. Oh, you're alive. It's time for the goodbyes. Everything dies for the sunrise. Oh, you're alive. I'm gonna shut when you say what's on your mind. I can see the pain in your eyes. First I'm left, then I'm right. Don't know how to keep my calm. Baby, don't you tell your lies. It's time for the goodbyes, everything dies where the sunrise. Oh, you're alive. Oh, you're alive.
Well, it's a tie game here after the Ravens find themselves up with a pretty hefty lead. Even just 30 minutes in, 16 minutes later, they find themselves down on the ground and taken out by the Scorpions. Really good fight back. And Mifflin, there's probably a few players that you could highlight. I'm not going to. I'm going to talk just about Rapio because it feels like there's a certain point
That's
where
my
he was
shtick.
dragging his team, kicking and screaming.
That's
to the
my
victory.
shtick, Gore.
Is it?
I'm the guy who's like, we could talk about other people but junglers. I was gonna do it. You gonna trust
Oh well,
me?
I mean, if it had been not Rapio, it would. I also would have done that. Like, it doesn't have to be a jungler for me.
Yeah,
They just gotta be good.
but it
as
was
Rapio
Rapio
did.
and it was a jungler.
Yeah, So that's your shtick. So who was it? Like, what happened in this game?
So we could talk about any number of people as to
Yeah, there were like
reasons
10
why there
people
was
in
a
the
dub here. There were 10 people, but there's only one worth mentioning, and I think that's Rapio, who was able to tear through that back line consistently from, what was it, 13,000 gold down at one point. Absolutely ridiculous. And I want to harken back to the death segment going into this game. There's only one team in the SCC that I trust to win with a 10,000 gold lead, and it's Hex Mambo. When they've got it, it's clean. When anybody else has got it, it's anybody's game. Might be why we never see F6s anymore in Smite, because they've been so many comebacks from this position. Just looked to me like the Highland Ravens weren't putting very much respect on Rapio's damage, for one, and two, Davy's Fields of Love was just getting so much value in these team fights. Each individual member of Highland Ravens were hit by Fields of Love, each individual one, every single one of them, at least 3 times each this game. And that is ridiculous hit rate from the Cupid. Gotta think maybe some Heavenly Sprints would have been nice, or maybe some Magi's Blessings could have helped you out a bit on the side of the Ravens, closed out some of those dives that went south on Phoenix Siege. But otherwise, the Aaru Scorpions play very well, and you have to. You have to play nearly perfectly to find a comeback from that sort of position. But as we move into Game 3, I'm pretty sure the Aaru Scorpions are going to fight tooth and nail to be not put in that position again.
Yeah, and, well, that's going to be kind of laid out at them. Game number 1, they win on the back of a really sick defense. Scorpions turn this one around on them. You have to imagine the Ravens feeling a little stung by that one. 9-1-7. And the only reason I'm going to mention is because we're back in that triple kill. It was the next to last highlight. Almost a Penta was able to find it. Ends up going back, healing off some camps. Almost just straight up deletes. I believe it was Angry who made it up there alongside with, I think it was Kana that was left alive. Absolutely insane, the style of play that we saw at Rapio. And if that was a Penta, then I think the game, maybe it ends faster, who knows. Either way, it was a position you don't want to find yourself in too often. If you're the Ravens, that's where they don't want to be as we move into game number 3.
I don't know if that's true.
What,
the Ravens were like 14,000 gold up.
Well, I meant
I'd
getting
love to
triple
be there.
killed.
Yeah. No, yeah, you're right.
Yeah,
That sucks.
That does suck. It's not where you want to be. The gold part, they want that. We'll see if they can get that part back in game number 3. And again, Mifflin, this one, outside of certain things, does that even feel like a draft? It doesn't feel like a draft. It feels like there's I hear Trelly like rambling about relics as he's walking by.
Yeah, my man was beset.
And you see things like this. The draft obviously worked for the Ravens until it stopped, but I don't know how much of that was the draft, how much of that was the play.
Yeah. From the lead that the Ravens were holding at the portion of the game in which they were holding it, you can no longer even evaluate compositions.
Ishtar.
It's not a topic of conversation anymore. You could draft 5 of the worst gods in the game and load in 10k up. You're gonna win. You just have more resources to play with. You simply deal more damage regardless. I would argue it's play on field that really cost the Highland Ravens this one. It was indecision around the sieges, not exactly utilizing the best parts of their siege, or maybe overzealousness on the dive at times as well. So, play on field needs to be the adaptation. P's and B's, not so concerned about it. If you're able to establish a lead, especially one in the 5-digit range, you're not upset about what you were playing with.
Yeah, they did pretty well to get to that lead. We'll see if they go back to some of it already. Ishtar makes it through, so that's going to be nice and big for them. They pick up the Raven this time for the Ravens alongside the Baba Yaga. Tyr was banned out, Mifflin. And so the Camazotz, the Cupid, now the Cthulhu are getting locked in for the Scorpions. I'm looking at their team fight, and depending on, again, maybe some relic choices out there, feeling a little worried for the Ravens.
Yeah, I mean, the Ravens have got themselves some of their favorite picks. You've got adapting likely on Robin. I won't make a full assumption of whether or not that Robin is going into jungle or the soul lane. You've also got Angry on one of his favorites. It's not Tiamat, but it's probably his second favorite. Baba Yaga, a consistent diver that can apply damage from a pretty decent range at that. And strong counter dive. If Camazotz is jumping on your mage consistently, save home sweet home transformation until he's already on top of you.
Yeah.
You get the HP shield, you get the knockaway, and you've got the CC immunity to deal with that vampiric bat slow. So I think Baba Yaga going to have a little bit of an easier time here going forward. Now I want to see CC from the Ravens. I want to see initiation. I want to see consistent fight start ability. Haven't got it just yet. There are a couple of Guardians that could really bring it. I would prefer to see something with a bit more AoE CC than the current Hover Horus, but I wish I hadn't said it because it is the Horus locked in. Whole lot of single target there. Not exactly a single target composition from the Ravens. Baba Yaga, I suppose, can follow up with the potion toss pretty consistently, but otherwise, it's a lot of AoE from that first ability from the ultimate.
Oh, wow.
Ganesh, again, single target CC, but massive area control, I think, could really help out the Ravens here. So now with Horus and Ganesh, I'm liking that a bit more.
And throwing the Horus presumably over into solo, something that we've gotten to see a few times in the SBL. Haddix has made look really, really solid. Like, I think what you highlight there with the Ganesh as well, maybe not the most CC, but Dharmic Pillars is almost a CC of its own. Like, you don't get stunned or rooted or anything, but good luck walking through that and feeling good about it. So hopefully there's some wiggle room there for the Ravens. They close out with a Scylla here for the Scorpions. Mifflin, real fast, I just want to know, on your thoughts, who do you think's going to group stages?
Oh, man, that is a
which
wild question.
Well, better question.
Okay.
Who's going to get the 10,000 gold lead and then throw it this game?
That's messed up. That's toxic. Glad you said it. I didn't. Man, both teams have early game junglers, so either team could establish a lead. Looking at it, I would probably say the Ravens are more likely to establish their lead. Cthulhu being a relatively slow lane, Scylla relatively slow as well. The Ravens have got more avenues on the map to play through. But if the game goes late, really like that Scorpions draft. The only thing I don't love is the Fafnir. Easy answer, I don't know.
He doesn't know, and you know what? You don't have to. We could just find out here in game number 3 as we go down to J-Mac and Trelly for the last time today.
For the last time, we'll see these two teams duke it out in the SCC for the European region this season. As one of them is going to be moving on to the group stage, one of them is going to be going home. The good news, Trelly, is the Scylla that got drafted doesn't have an Athena with it, so we don't need to worry about the Athena-Scylla combo losing out a game this time. But J-Mac Trelly dug one final time this weekend, one last time for the EU SCC Championships here on this lovely Sunday. Highland Ravens versus Aaru Scorpions. This should be a great one to go through. And I think maybe bringing up a talking point with Silence and Kana on this Ganesh. We haven't really seen it much at all, I don't think, this weekend. Same thing with the Horus. So the Ravens going for something completely new in an attempt to make it to the qualifiers.
Yeah, I think both of these supports have really good chance to make the other support's life miserable, in the sense of Predss can very easily hammer, silence, Fields of Love underneath, the same sort of style as last game. But on the flip side, if Silence is ahead and Predss goes into that Draconic Transformation, oh, that's not the way you want to Jolt.
No, Jolt's body blocked, beads gone for Coast. And a couple of Sunder charges even used by Predss to try and keep Coast even more uncomfortable. A great turnaround start now for the Aaru Scorpions to put some pressure over towards the Ravens duo.
Yeah, getting those beads down as well. But as I was saying, you have that opportunity to just drop Dharmic Pillars and use the silence to lock in Predss into that much damage. So wouldn't be surprised if I saw both of these supports go into a little bit more survivability in that aspect. That's why we see Silence going for the sprint. Was not happy with getting slowed and stunned into Fields of Love last game on the Athena. So already we see a little bit of adaptation there. But more specifically, I'm happy to see adapting on this Robin. I just have not been liking the Dodge G personally, and maybe it's just, you know, a pick that only works for some people. It doesn't even matter at that point. I just want to see adapting on one of his tried and true picks. We've seen him play 1,000 times, and I've seen a good bit of Robin. Coast is definitely going to get stunned here, but with some body blocks from Silence, should be just fine for the time being. A lot of pressure, a lot of sparks flying over there on the left side of the map, mostly from the Aaru Scorpions.
Nothing but aggression in the duo for both of these two teams. Predss and Davy, multiple jumps and dashes in. These heart bomb combos to be thrown at Silence and Coast. Right side of the map, Rapio will rotate over along with adapting. They'll drop their respective blue buffs for their solo laners. And maybe for the first time, like this entire event, Trelly, we see a Golden Blade picked up on a god that makes sense to see a Golden Blade pick up, as Kana has started building in towards that Katana tier 1.
And before you see Kana go stone cutting sword.
They would do it too. They would definitely do something like that. So it's like, oh yes, Golden Blade. Finally, on a god that should be building the Golden Blade. It helps them. Nah, Psych, Serrated Edge or something like that. You know, anything except Golden Blade.
Let me be the first to say that I actually do enjoy a good Golden Blade Achilles game because you can use all your poke for poke and you can just auto-attack the wave. It's fun. I'm not going to say that it's good late game. You definitely should sell it to get a little bit tankier or more DPS, whatever you prefer in that slot. But just for dominating clear and trying to rotate out of lane, I think a good Golden Blade Achilles works every once in a while. So not my biggest complaint, but it does make sense on the Horus, as you said, helping with that lane clear and proccing up that first ability to make sure that you absolutely dominate in the lane clear department. When you're up against a Cthulhu, that's what you want to look for. You don't want to let a Cthulhu power farm, and you definitely don't want to let a Cthulhu just be by himself, because once he rotates into the team fights, more often than not, he's going to be able to do more than a Horus. But if Horus gets there first, has incredible setup, burns relics, there's still so much value to be had in this pick. I love that we're seeing more Horus solo throughout all regions, so because for such a long time, it was really just hat explained.
Yeah, it was just. And that was back whenever he was on the Bolts as well. Moved that a little bit of that over now with his team on the Leviathans, and now we're starting to see that trickle down to some of the rest of the leagues. Predss in danger. Adapting rotates over. Silence keeps Predss from jumping. Stun makes it a little bit longer, but Adapting dives the wrong way. Predss might just be out instead. It could be a turn and burn onto the King himself. Adapting still boxing through, but Rapio right behind him. Dharmic Pillars take him down. Rapio now trapped inside the cage. Jumps onto the edge of it. The jolt not enough.
What?
And neither is the Rolling Thunder. Rapio somehow, some way, makes it out. He's far enough back in the tower to prevent Adapting from diving in.
My man jumped on the Dharmic Pillar, Rapio, you absolute madman. He had Bat out of hell. He could have just ulted, but he wanted to fight. I understand the mindset. He says, hey, if I jump, maybe I get a little bit of extra of the essence pile, I believe we decided was the name. And then I can use my ult later on to try and fight, but he took a couple ticks there. Almost went down. Beautiful juke, though, by Predss, making sure to not get hit by the Mystic Rush. That almost stalled out that kill. I'm pretty sure if Dharmic Pillars don't come up when they do, Predss may have been able to make it out, but good ultimate there as well. From Silence, making use of this Ganesh pick and giving first blood over towards the Robin. You know Adapting's happy about that one. Finishing up your first item a little bit earlier, and then making those rotations a little bit earlier. Unfortunately, Rapio actually finished Jotun's first, so I'm a liar, but just trust me on this. He had the gold first.
In fact, well, you can see where the extra gold went. It's towards an extra tier 1 mace for Adapting. XP slightly in favor of Rapio in that matchup. Even into the soul lane as well. Panvich had a slight lead over Kana, but now the Golden Blade is finished up for this Horus. Should be pretty simple clear for Kana. Can use some of his abilities for poke, use the rest of them to clear out that solo lane. And I'm wondering when the timer might be for the soul laners to start rotating towards these fights. Doesn't take long for support to come back to dual lane to try and deal with Coast, but not going to find the hammer there, so he should be fine. I'm wondering, though, how long it'll be before we start to see Kana and Panvich rotate some of these early objectives.
I want to see to the skies from solo to, I mean, you can't get to mid lane, but close enough, and then close gap and just get some relics down. Those are the kind of plays. Davey is going to eat the Mystic Rush, beats down. That's all Adapting's looking for this time around, which opens up some doors for Coast to find a 1v1. Because with Cupid, once those beads are gone, those swords really can lock you down. Now Kana uses that ult defensively, will be able to get away from the gank from Rapio. Rapio goes right, Adapting goes left. Ult for beads, I'm thinking Adapting's gank's a little bit more worth.
Adapting definitely going to have better into that. Davey will have to be careful on this rotation from Silence and Coast. Another purple buff stolen away by the Ravens jungler. That's been able to net the Highland Ravens about a 1,300 or so gold lead up over the Scorpions with help that first blood bounty, plus the constant denial of farm towards Davey, who has not been able to get too many stacks up on his Devourer's Gauntlet right now. 1,300 gold and experience in favor of the Highland Ravens. And most of that off the back of the aggressive play by Adapting. I agree with you. I like this changeup for Adapting. Lets him get involved maybe just a little bit earlier and be, I would say, a lot less cautious with his ultimate. He's able to just throw it out there. Doesn't have to wait on beats to be up. Just jump in and see what you can do.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, Robin's an all-out brawler. Not too many skill shots. You just have to besides Mystic Rush, I suppose, which isn't really a skill shot, but you do have to lead and predict a little bit with that ability. But more specifically, you don't have to hold on to your abilities and you're like, oh, I can't use that or I'll be dead. You do have to hold on overhead kick in some matchups, but it works really well into Scylla. You say, hey, I'm a monster's coming, I'm just going to kick that. Oh, there's a Fields of Love on the way, I'm going to overhead kick that one too. You have so many different options. I think a much easier god to brawl with early. So Adapting has been able to try and look towards the left side, look towards Davy. Found the beads, they're going to be up for another minute or so. And once again, it seems like pressure towards the left side, more so the Oracles, but could be looking to get aggressive here. If Cupid steps up a little bit too far, Adapting might try and pull the trigger. No blink for 20 though.
Silence slowed by the AoE of the hammer that did hit Adapting, but he overhead kicked at least the stun and the damage from it. Mid lane, I'll be keeping sights on this Baba Yaga versus Scylla matchup. Obviously, stacking game will always go in favor of the Baba Yaga. No, that's no matter who the Baba's facing against, just by nature of the passive. But late game scaling, typically the name of the game for this guy. That's why we see so many players double, maybe even triple stack if you're adding a Charon's coin plus like a Warlock staff in with this Thoth.
And then a Hide of the Urchin.
Then a Gauntlet of Thieves for the end might as well.
Yeah, you want to, everyone quintuple stacks. Everyone knows that.
Yeah, I mean, if you're not full stacking on Baba, I think you're just throwing the game. But going back with it, you know, angry on this Baba. That's something that we've been seeing in the EU a lot because these games typically go longer. That's when Baba's damage really starts to rack up. And her damage is no joke either. I mean, you can have an extra potion in pocket at any given time and throw them both out for 600 damage each. That adds up real fast.
I'm actually a double chalice enjoyer on Baba. I never stack 2 potions.
The worst.
You're
the worst, Charlie.
I can see you get frustrated right as
You're
I
the
said
worst.
that. No, but I always get myself buying wards, and then I'm like, I kind of want a health chalice, but I actually can't because I want to have my extra potion on lock because it is so much extra damage, right? Imagine just having like 2 charges of crush in the back. Of course, they're different amounts of damage, but late game kind of similar, and they've got some great scaling. And Baba, as you said, does have some good scaling. If you're able to get those stacking items online, which the Book of Thoth is for Angry, Home Sweet Home really does start to add up as well. The issue with that matchup, however, is you can't Aegis when you're in Home Sweet Home, so GunTTeRR has a pretty easy target with I'm a Monster if you're able to connect with that one. I have to see if it shows its head during these engagements. We hit 10 minutes, which means Pyromancer is available to either one of these teams. But so far, left side of the map is where Adapting's been hanging out. I haven't seen too many attempts at the ganks on the right. Rapio went over there once, got to the sky, said, well, that didn't work. All right, I'm just going to give up on that. I'm going to head over to left.
Yeah. So we'll just be Kana by himself for, I imagine, quite a while with Panvich. Neither of these junglers really concerned about what's going on the right-hand side of the map. Typically, though, when we do see these Cthulhus, the answer of the jungler of the team against Cthulhu isn't necessarily to camp the lane. It's more to camp the blue buff and not allow this Cthulhu to get that extra little bit of farm, not give him the safety of having all that MP5 and cooldown reduction to keep doing what Panvich is doing in lane right now, which is just to free clear up, even up against a Horus. We haven't seen Adapting go over there. I mean, he got an early buff to help out Kana, but ever since Kana got Golden Blade, Adapting hasn't even shied towards that side of the map.
Yeah, I think because your ganks against like a Cupid are so linear, even into a Scylla. Oh my goodness, GunTTeRR taking so much damage, but now Silence is under some aggression.
Fields of Love, stop at a couple, but Silence still walking forward despite being at a 3rd HP. The Scorpions do not turn and burn against the Ganesh. Says Adapting needs a hammer, he'll have to back himself away. 1-0, still reads the scoreboard. First blood was quite some time ago on the left side of the map, but haven't really seen much since then. We've seen a little bit of action, but no real full commits from either team. This 1,200 gold lead hasn't really gone too far for the Highland Ravens just yet. Most of that allocation and pressure has gone over to Vapor's Coast, but it'll get a slight lead over Davy.
Certainly has, but Home Sweet Home going to be used to grab this Pyromancer. Cthulhu way too far, and Rapio is going to be too little too late, it seems. And that is going to be the call. First neutral objective of the game, going the way of the Highland Ravens at Pyromancer. Just good map play. Knew exactly how much time they had, knew they had to go into the ultimate to confirm it, but Angry's pretty happy with that one. Able to grab the pyro for the team, using the ultimate. As long as Gold Fury doesn't get immediately turned and burned, should be fine. But remember, Predss is a Fafnir, and it looks like setting up an ambush onto Silence, and the hammer will connect.
Oh no, this is exactly what happened in the last game. It was CC into any kind of damage to follow up. To drop Silence. Scorpions start up the Fury. Vision was there for the Ravens. They know this is still happening. Panvich now in a 2v1 separates the team fight out. The Gold Fury leashed, but has been picked back up. Kana stuns Panvich, who tries to get back to the squad. The Gold Fury goes to the Aaru Scorpions, but Adapting wants to turn this fight towards his team. Predss dives, or I should say, a dive in for Kana into the middle of everybody. Predss low, but not enough damage. Coast finally closes up that gap. Finds one for the Highland Ravens. But now it's only a 1,000 lead for the Ravens after Fury goes to the Scorpions.
Yeah, I think that's about as well as it can go for the Highland Ravens. Of course, a steal is ideal, but with Scylla on board, I'm thinking the confirm was always in favor of the Scorpions. So just chasing down and trying to get a kill, this case on to Panvich, was the best option the Ravens had. Adapting goes nuts there. I mean, diving into 4. Like, obviously, Kana was on the way and gave the shielding, but was essentially by himself for quite some time. The rest of the team did end up showing up, but I think Angry actually does a ton of damage there towards the end. A lot of grouping there from the Aaru Scorpions that the Baba Yaga was able to capitalize on. All the while, Porsche Ghost gets credit for the kill and puts him 2 levels ahead of Davy. That's usually what's been happening this set. I think Coast has been getting consistent 1 to 2 level leads in the duo lane. Sometimes it amounts to nothing. Sometimes they're able to play through it. And I'm hoping this is one of those games where the Highland Ravens can say, hey, because Coast's ahead, we can go over to the left side and actually fight with him, fight with our lead. So many times, both of these teams, the ones with the lead, have been failing late game just because they can't translate it into anything. But when your ADC's ahead, that usually means objectives come a little bit easier.
See if the Ravens do play through Coast from the left side of the map. Kind of facilitate this Ishtar. It's maybe be a carry for the Highland Ravens. This goal lead hasn't gone too far. It's mostly just been the experience department where the Ravens have been leading. Most of that is just in that dual lane. As you can see, GunTTERR's pulled a slight lead over Angry in the mid matchup there. Nothing too significant just yet. We finally saw what happens when these soul laners rotate over. Panvich able to really disrupt the team fight, really zone out a couple of these Ravens members. Meanwhile, Kana doing his best to try and keep Panvich from doing that job. Ends up diving in with Adapting at the very end. Leave him, no, Davey, leave him alone. Let them fight. Let them fight over the ward.
They were never going to end up. I think their HP 5 does more than their auto attacks ever would. And unfortunately, Silence should have won that. He had way more hands to try and, get the ward. But
he never uses the other 2 of them.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. If you use your other hands, you could have punched with 2 and then got the ward with the others. But unfortunately, that's not how Smite works. You don't get to use all your hands.
Just pick him up. Fafnir's not that big comparatively. Just pick him up with 2 of your hands, punch the wards with the rest, and set him back down.
I don't know. He's got a big hammer, though. You're asking to get bonked if you try to pick up Fafnir for sure. That's a mean end of the hammer you do not want to be on. Primal Fury, not quite spawning in yet, but there is some grouping towards the left side of the map. Adapting, can't help himself. If he can get close to Davy and try and get aggressive, he'll certainly go for it, but it was more so the obelisk that the Ravens are after. They want this trebuchet. One more offering will do it, and they're able to claim that one. Now Silence just has to get out, trying to juke the hammer. Is the target of this fight, sprints out, but will I'm a Monster connect it? Will.
Dharmic Pillars should stop that one. Predss jumps over, does get the stun. Silence as good as dead. This time around, pays his life to get a trebuchet. Decent poke from Angry, but nothing too significant just yet with that home sweet home ultimate. Highland Ravens get the trebuchet, so they've got a little bit of a boost for Porsche Coast now, but it's reset the momentum. The Aaru Scorpions no longer having to maybe worry about if this Pyromancer can go down. Still a few seconds out from respawn, so is Silence. It's going to take some time to get there.
Yeah, I'm going to have to retreat here, evening up the kills with the gold. Still in favor of the Highland Ravens for now, as that Pyromancer is going to be spawning back in here shortly. Maybe that'll finally be the call here for the Ravens to group up towards the right side of the map as it just touched down. Kana trying to go for the invade, doesn't do too much damage, and here comes Rapio. won't be sticking around for too long. Doesn't have anywhere to dash, and actually will be able to steal that one away and be able to dash towards the minions. Gets out
Criminal.
just fine. Sorry, bro. Get more damage if you're on Cthulhu if you want to confirm your own blue buff.
Criminal that he was able to get out of a 2v1 so easily, but Rapio and the rest of Scorpions start to pyro. That one does go their way. So while Kana was busy taking a blue, the Scorpions decide to capitalize off of that play by grabbing an objective, maybe a little bit more valuable in that regard, unless Panvich goes down, silenced with the Dharmic Pillars locking the Cthulhu in.
Wow.
Predss will follow in tow. It's Vaporish Coast with a killing spree for the Highland Ravens. And who cares about a Pyromancer? Who cares about a blue buff? Fire Giant on the menu for the Ravens and the Scorpions, nowhere to be seen. They'll give this one up for a Fury on the opposite end.
Yeah, that's the only play they really have. Unfortunately, Panvich gets caught way too far down, stuck in the middle of Dharmic Pillars, and maybe didn't expect that level of burn from the Ishtar. So the Cthulhu goes down, and Predss tried to save him, could not even get into the Draconic Transformation because of a fantastic silence there from Silenced. I have never said that, I don't think. Silence silenced him, and he did. And Predss was not able to live. So now, Highland Ravens able to group up, get down this tier 1 tower. Looks like they want the tier 2 in mid as well. Whereas the Aaru Scorpions are able to grab Primal Fury and try and split push down left. Because of a good teleport in from Kana. Not going to be able to grab anything further. And actually the Ravens also smart to just back off. They said we'll spend a little bit of gold, group up, and then we'll begin our siege. Still one more tier 1 tower available for the Ravens to grab, as well as all 3 tier 2s. But I think the Aaru Scorpions are in a decent position where they don't have to give these towers up. Relatively even. It's only 4-2 and only about 2,000 gold in favor of the Ravens. So these tier 2s could be a call they're looking for. And more specifically, looks like they were trying to set up a gank here. Kana, probably not the target they're looking for, but anyone who can get hammered into a Scylla ultimate could be on the menu for the Aaru Scorpions.
Of course, Coast level 19 on the Ishtar, 19 for Kana as well. These side laners have been able to get an immense amount of extra farm. With Fire Giant, Coach should make quick work of this tier 1 on left, maybe even the tier 2 tower. Since the majority of the Ravens have pushed up this way, it's only adapting not here, and he's very far away from being able to join his team. Instead, he'll work on pushing up mid while the Ravens start their siege of the left tier 2. Not going to get too far, though, because there are quite a few members of the Scorpions here to slow this one down. There is a Bracer drop, gets a little bit of extra power over to the squad, but they just cannot find a window of opportunity to get in there and poke out this tower.
With the Bracer, should have plenty of time now, actually adapting. Zoning out Rapio in the jungle, making sure that Camazotz is not able to gank his team. Uses overhead kick a little bit early, but should be just fine. With the extra healing there from Kana, doesn't look like the Highland Ravens are too worried. But as I said, the Aaru Scorpions are forming a bit of a defense here. It's not like this tower drops quickly. What's going to be the call? A blink to send to madness or give up the tower? It looks like position towards the back. The Aaru Scorpions might just let this one drop, but without minions, the Highland Ravens can't capitalize on it if they wanted to.
Now the Ravens have spent about a minute over here and have gotten half the tier 2 tower's HP, a little bit more so now. They kind of soaking this one up. Still adapting, and Rapio having their standoff in the jungle, but neither of them willing to step forward. Crush takes out the minion wave, but with the minions getting in just in time, Coast can help finally take down this tier 2 tower that's been worked at for about a minute or so of play for the Ravens. They head over towards mid, or maybe they run it back and see how long it takes to take this one down.
Well, if they take another minute, they're going to lose their Fire Giant buff, so I would recommend push it in before 50 seconds. That's probably the best idea. And if the Aaru Scorpions want to save a little bit of gold, maybe use some ult, and that's the call. Silence uses the Dharmic Pillars, and that will be it. The tier 2 tower goes down, and the Aaru Scorpions decide they don't want to fight. Going for one more. 30 seconds. This one's risky, but if the Aaru Scorpions can't set up in time, it may just be a walk-in. They're trying. They're on the way here, and it was only Dharmic Pillars used, so the Ravens still do have more opportunities, but it's been so long. Bracer's back up for Silence.
Fields of Love, though, finds Kana. Descent into madness for Panvich, but a quick escape with the Horus for his team. Kana's able to get the squad out. Tier 2 tower and right still stands. What is Kana doing? They keep walking back. Now that Madness is gone, the Highland Ravens are pushing back.
Adapting
Maybe
blinks.
try and grab this one, Rapio. 3rd HP to the bat out of hell. Tier 2 tower was left standing, will no longer stand up as the Highland Ravens rally back to take it down.
Certainly do. Fire Giant comes up in about 45 seconds. So it's time for the Aaru Scorpions to take what they can, get ready for this next siege. Very smart, Predss. Not sure if it was a pivot, not sure if it matters. Still, was able to finish that Emp armor, which will certainly help if the Aaru Scorpions aren't able to defend this Fire Giant. 6,000 gold down like they are currently. But either way, with the Draconic Transformation with the Sunder, they still have plenty of avenues in here to try and kill tanks. Silence has went for the sprint and the bracer, so will certainly be quick as the Ganesh, but enough lockdown. I think there are still some avenues to try and find a kill. With this Fire Giant touching down in 8 seconds, most of the Scorpions are here, 4 strong. Grouped up towards the objective is Davy. A little bit late, but he'll be here just all the same. Whereas the rest of the Ravens are going to group up as well, trying to go towards this objective. I mean, Scylla ult is certainly a good confirmation, but can you keep GunTTeRR alive to even go for it? Currently at the Gold Fury, so I think it might be giving this one up as well.
Yeah, last time it was, well, they're at fire. There's only 3 of us. Not a whole lot we can do. Let's just take the Gold Fury. Oh no, adapting actually backed. And so is Silence. The Gold Fury sound effect now plays. And maybe the Ravens wishing that they hadn't gone back to base so they could have started that fire up.
I thought they were doing it the whole time. I can't believe they didn't. Now the Aaru Scorpions are just pushing tier 2. There you go. Now they're going to start. A little late, but...
Well, they recognize that Davy and Panvich are on the left side of the map.
No way.
4 of the Scorpions are over there. Fire Giant isn't even being done. It is. The Ravens get it, and every one of them immediately heads back to base, but recognizing by the Scorpions that Fire Giant's now down, they all back away after taking tier 2.
Yeah, that's going to be worth it. I thought for a second it was just going to be base race territory, but the Highland Ravens played that one as smart as you can. Get the objective first, channel your backs, you lose a tier 2. That's not going to matter. Kana, I'm assuming, thought would be able to catch out some lazy backers, but there are none of those. They are just going to push a little bit further into the enemy jungle and try and grab the rest of these towers, possibly steal away a trebuchet in the meantime. FG for another 3 minutes and 20 seconds. So plenty of time to try to get some last-minute buffs and help out the siege. I mean, the usual play was just walk up slowly, Dharmic Pillar, and see how your siege goes, but I don't imagine that works as easily, especially underneath a Phoenix. This is going to have to be pick territory, and Kana doesn't have a blink. It's only adapting who can close gaps, so it's going to be Silence walking up slowly and trying to get a good Dharmic Pillars to start off this siege.
So far, has not found it. Playing patiently are the Highland Ravens. We've seen this one too many times, Trelly, where one bad Phoenix siege can completely flip the script for these two teams just in this set alone. But
Protect the
backup
trebuchet.
is here with the trebuchet. There is an Odysseus bow from Davy, so he can get some free poke on there from the minions. Kana has some sustain, but thanks to help that interceptor, it's actually negating most of what the fireballs are doing for the trebuchet's damage. It's going to need some help if they want to take down this bird, because it is not going to lose that HP very quickly at this rate.
Yeah, Phoenix is healing too fast. And again, look at the engage opportunities here. It is essentially, Angry getting chunked down, loses speed, Silence getting chunked down. Gonna have to back up, get healed up through Kana's heal. And it looks like finally the Dharmic Pillars get dropped. That creates some space, but descending into madness is Panvich.
Kana backs out instantly, rejoins the rest of the team. Adapting and Rapio were busy over towards mid. Adapting will make his way back mid, but with Descent to Madness now gone, it's a massive opening for the Highland Ravens. Phoenix down to half HP now, but still sustaining back up with that scepter. Panvich eats some damage from the Baba Yaga. Kana gonna drag the Heart Bomb away. Sustained from Fire Giant, and Kana is there to keep this Highland Ravens team alive. They spent their entire buff at this left Phoenix.
Yep, and Coast accidentally dashed in. Luckily, there was no follow-up, so he was able to pack up there. How many times have we seen an Ishtar just dash underneath this Phoenix on accident? One more bracer goes down, and the Phoenix is at half. This is what I'm talking about, though. There is no easy application of an engage except for Dharmic Pillars. There's no blinks. It's just adapting, who's been dancing with Rapio the whole time. Silence should get one more chance at Dharmic Pillars here before the Fire Giant runs off, and I imagine that'll be the engage. But Predss has detransformed, but Silence is getting chunked. He's gone!
No, the Odysseus bow bounce takes down Silence. Coast was put down to half HP himself. And 3 minutes of fighting around a Phoenix Trail, he has netted in a single kill for the Aaru Scorpions. He's now pushed the Highland Ravens back. A 5k gold lead is not enough for the Ravens to break the base of the Scorpions. Maybe the next Fire Giant, when it crashes in, it will be close to enhanced when it lands back in. For how long we've seen these dances go before it actually goes down, Charlie, that might just be the next objective that falls.
Yeah, I can't see the horse being that useful. No, I can't see. Just give me a second. I can't see the horse being useful without blink, because you're not just going to fracture into a Phoenix, right? You need some sort of engage to get close and then fracture. Then you can force your beads. And you get to dash out for free, assuming that Connor was terrified of Fields of Love or Sikkim. Both cripples would be able to stop that. Just means that the siege for the Highland Ravens is so bad, so what do? You have two options. You bring in a wave of minions with To the Skies. That's what I would do. Your other option is you win the fight in the jungle to where you don't even need to siege a Phoenix. That is looking less likely because the Aaru Scorpions have not really been stepping up to defend Fire Giant until they're feeling confident. Oni Fury gonna drop down here for the Ravens. And I imagine this next fight will be over the enhanced Fire Giant. It's gonna touch down here shortly, but 30 seconds, it will become enhanced. And the way these dances have been going should take a bit, but look at this. The Aaru Scorpions already grouped up. They already have their vision and sitting around the corner. If the call is hammer into Sikkim into Fields of Love, no better target than the Ganesh could walk up.
Kind of the first one on the scene, though. He gets hammered, he gets sundered, he gets caught in the Fields of Love, and he's the one who gets I'm a monster. Silence will take the residual shot after. But instead of the elephant being the first target, it was the Birdman himself. Kana down for 48. The Aaru Scorpions charging forward. Silence almost gone. Knocked up and knocked down. Predss gets one, but Angry and Rapio turn this one around, adapting. Takes down Predss. It's now a 2-for-2 trade. And the Aaru Scorpions and the Highland Ravens have lost both of their frontliners.
Wait, this is kind of cool. I want to see this fight where there's no tanks. It's just carries, 3v3. All the tanks are gone. Blink is still available for both junglers. Actually, every relic for every carry is available except for Raykarishkosh's beads. This is a true 3v3. Don't wait for your tanks. I want to see it engage right now.
Rapio, you got 3 essence pools over there or whatnot. Just fight using those. Don't fight on top of adapting. Bat out of hell forced away from the Camazotz. And that might just be the retreat for the Aaru Scorpions. Kana's back, teleports in. Enhanced Fire Giant started up. GunTTeRR has ult. Being zoned away by Angry. Davey being zoned by adapting. This Fire Giant's not going down super fast. Rapio has a chance to get in. Oh my goodness. GunTTeRR, I'm a monster. Adapting is out. GunTTeRR doesn't even need to use it for the enhanced Fire Giant because Panvich has returned once more. Makana will bail out his team, and a Dharmic Pillar from Silence holds him back.
Yeah, now that I'm monsters down, the Aaru Scorpions should look to pull this, but Rapio and Davey looking a little worse for wear. They've got some hearts from Cupid, but it looks like they will return to base before they try to go for this pull. I mean, the Highland Ravens gave themselves an advantage there with the teleport, and I guess they forgot that Panvich can also teleport in. Adapting must have been seconds away from Mystic Rush because he used that overhead kick so early. He ate so many auto attacks from Davey. Was not able to close gap and escape. But now the Draconic Transformation comes through. Every ultimate is available except for I'm a Monster and Bat Out of Hell. Enhanced Fire Giant starts up. Stun off the mark, but Silence stuck in the Fields of Love.
Stuck there. Stun, though, from Vapor's Coast. Keeps Predss back. Angry goes to the home sweet home. Damage on Rapio is massive. The damage returned back to Angry equally as potent. Rapio backs away. Can heal very easily off this wave. And look how much health he's already regained just from a tad bit of sustain. Aaru Scorpions have used 3 ults to try and get in. Kana finds GunTTeRR. Was that a potion from Angry that just took half of the mid laner's HP? GunTTeRR might have to go back. Never mind, he's got a Cupid. He'll sustain up nicely.
And now even more damage going to Predss.
Oh,
Good
adapting.
silence. They're going in here.
Adapting, takes down GunTTeRR, dives on top of Davy, beats, Aegis, gone, Davy removed. Adapting has found a double kill to start this fight for the Ravens and is running down a Cthulhu with no regard for his own life. But four of the Ravens have backed away. Enhanced Fire Giant started up, and Predss has got to be the one to maybe keep this one alive. But there's no chance a Fafnir gets in to steal this one. The Highland Ravens have turned the fight back in, and they'll get Enhanced Fire on all five.
Yeah, they've made the call. We can win the fight in the jungle over the siege. I don't want to see them back, though. They're not. They're going to keep on pushing. I was going to say, the Ravens have had so much trouble in a 5v5. Their best play is to make a beeline for one of these birds and try and get it before GunTTeRR and Davy return. They knew it. We all knew it. They're going to walk in shortly with Enhanced Fire Giant. You don't need minions. And they're going to drop that bracer, get the right side bird. Looks like that was the easy call. Back up, retreat. And now you're able to spend a bit of that gold. So the Highland Ravens have done the impossible, J-Mac. They have gotten a Phoenix down with a lead.
Well, they didn't go for left this time. They got the right one.
That is true.
That's the important one. So that left Phoenix is the kryptonite for this team.
But the good news is, because they've done that, they shouldn't have to take a 5v5 underneath that left Phoenix anymore. If they play smart and they wait for someone to go clear those fire minions, they don't have to wait for a glory play. They don't have to wait to try and fight in the jungle. They will be able to take a 5v4 underneath that left bird and go for a siege the traditional way. When adapting can get to the back line, these fights are explosive. I mean, if this Robin gets to the carries, I'm feeling very confident for the Highland Ravens to stamp their ticket to the SWC group stages. It's just who can create space for him. Kana was able to fracture in there, sort of distract, force out some dashes. Angry also follows up with some good damage. When that happens, that opens up the opportunity for Robin to blink to the back line. Traditionally, it's been Dharmic Pillars into step up into Phoenix, and I think I like the chances of the Highland Ravens to do that again, especially with the Trebuchet here. Take a look at the Phoenix. There's no shields around, which means it's not going to be healing up every shot that the Trebuchet goes for. It's going to be a slow and steady siege, and I'm thinking the Highland Ravens want to take it that way.
Highland Ravens spent about 2.5 minutes over here earlier. Didn't get the left Phoenix. This time they've got Enhanced Fire Giant to make it a little bit easier for themselves. Adapting, distracting Rapio over in the mid. We saw this last time. It was a 4 versus 4 group up. With this Emperor's Armor pick up by Silenced and Predss, they'll nearly nullify each other out, but Bede's now gone from Kana.
There's a fire wave.
Push up by the Ravens. Dharmic Pillars from Silenced will zone Davy out. Let Phoenix burn. Panvich actually stuck behind the Dharmic Pillar, and the Ravens move to mid.
Yeah, they got one down. That Trebuchet really started to add up the damage, and now mid Phoenix is under attack. Remember, Kana already lost the beads for the 100 seconds, so that's the target. Immediately is gone.
Kana erased. Can Adapting make anything work? He's behind everybody. Rapio's found him, and a blink away from the bat. Mid bird stands, 4 versus 5. Panvich has to go back to resustain, and the Ravens will return back to base. A minute left on their Fire Giant. Maybe the call is to just take the Fury before they return.
Thank goodness. Kana immediately after that play, bottom Mantle of Discord, realized, hey, I don't like getting CC'd to death. I want another out, and Mantle of Discord will provide that. When he gets low enough, he can just immune that CC and dash away. So I think that's already the adaptation. Without beads, it's very difficult to be a frontliner in situations like this where GunTTeRR and Davy just get to delete you if you're CC chained. So Kana said, you know what, if I get caught without beads and a Magi, see how easy that is?
Oh,
Love
he sold
that.
the Mantle for the Magi.
I'll take it. Just
Hey.
one or the other. Like, that's great. And now Kana can be a frontliner again. It's so easy. I mean, it's not that easy, but it does get a little bit easier. You don't have to. You can avoid one hammer, one sick'em.
Hit the Staples button. That was easy.
Yep, there we go. And now the Ravens are going to group up as 5. Running it down mid. Remember, they do have To the Skies. At any point, they could ult a wave into one of these birds or just ult from behind and try and set up an ambush. GunTTeRR hiding for some poke. He's going to dash away, silenced. Not sure he even noticed he got hit by anything, but it was there.
Still able to take the ward away from that side of the map. Highland Ravens playing cautiously. They finally have been able to take out the Kryptonite of the left bird. Right when it's respawned, no more Fire Giant. Will not respawn for at least another 20 or so seconds. The Ravens may not be fully concerned with it, but the Scorpions may not even be able to step up to it. Once it does crash back in with that left side bird gone, it's going to be hard for them to make a defense towards it. It's going to be on a timer for them if they want to jump up. Seems the Aaru Scorpions are feeling a bit risky. They will step forward, but how long will they stay out of their base?
Everyone used their escape, so they're trying to get somewhere fast. I'm trying to figure out where they're trying to get. Are they going for the ult play?
Oh no, the Scorpions think Ravens are going for fire, but the Ravens are just going for the back door. Everybody
They're all
is
backing.
going back to base right away. Adapting has made the call out.
I saw everyone use their dashes, and I
This
was
is the
like,
ultimate game of chicken if I've ever seen one.
yeah, now they get to go towards Fire Giant with only Predss to try and defend, but GunTTeRR is there as well. So you've sent Panvich back to deal with Fire Waves. No Cthulhu in this fight. Silenced and Angry playing zone duty. It's all up to Predss to try and go for a steal.
No chance that he does, though. Highland Ravens get the fire. Panvich is back. The final stand for the Aaru Scorpions stops with Predss at least. He's the first one gone.
Watch Adapting.
4 alive for the Scorpions, but Adapting blinks in. Misses the root, misses the slow. Rapio, Panvich still just fine. Adapting will continue his chase, but GunTTeRR had to go back and stop the minions. Right side bird weakened. That one won't stand for much longer. The Highland Ravens, we are at near minute 40, but they're going to take the safe route, take out the right bird, move back towards mid.
Mystic Rush down for Bat Out of Hell. Rapio probably upset about that trade because Adapting can still do tons of damage without that ultimate. But now the mid Phoenix is being looked at, and that immediately goes down. Wouldn't be surprised if left bird is also the target, even though the Titan is so low, and also Predss is gone. This has got to be the call. Are they going to ult in? Are they going to group up for it? That Titan is looking low.
10 seconds still, Predss. Kana goes up. He's going to bring Coast in with him. The Sentinel of Madness will not stop this. The Highland Ravens in one fell swoop. Your number 2 EU SCC team and your second one to go to the SWC qualifiers.
I really did enjoy all the adaptations that were made throughout this set. You could tell the Ravens learned a lot from that last game. They said, okay, maybe the sieges weren't working so well, let's try and fight in the jungle. After they made that adaptation, maybe a little bit of CC immunity left on Kana, and more specifically, open the door for Robin. If Adapt gets to the backline, our fights look a lot cleaner.
I mean, that last little bit right before the final enhanced Fire Giant goes down, where Ravens say, okay, we're going to try and flood into the base, utilize Kana's ultimate. All of the Scorpions come out, and then they go, oh, they're not here. They're probably coming with the Horus. Adapting makes that call out, and then they use the Horus ult instead to go to enhance Fire Giant, end this one out. The Highland Ravens with a 2-1 for the final set of the weekend, and your second team to qualify. That's it for Charlie and I. We'll throw back to the desk to close the day out.
And it's the second team now from Europe secured for the Ravens going to the SWC group stages. Again, joining the Warriors, the Titans, the Scarabs, and the Valkyries on their path, and that's who they will find forward. That gives us 6 of the 8, which means we only have North America. That's going to be next week to get into. Mifflin instead will focus in on this game. It takes 40 minutes, but there's, I think like earlier on in that game, there was no doubts in Trelly's mind that they were going to be stamping the Ravens their tickets to go forward to that SWDC group stages.
Yeah, and the Ravens really were in control for just about every portion of this game. That might be, though, the record for most damage a Phoenix has ever taken without actually dying. That left side bird was the bird that just could. It stayed alive so long there for the Scorpions, just through defense after defense after defense. But eventually, once the base had broken, the Highland Ravens were able to maneuver the map, start leveraging that Horus threat of, hey, now your Phoenix is gone, so we could just kill your Titan, or we could just go to the Fire Giant, keep them guessing. But it took a little while to get there. Off the back of some aggressive play from Adapting, I really liked this Robin. I thought that was a pretty wild departure from his standard. When I think of Adapting, I think of playing around the edge of a team fight, hyper carry assassins, go in, find your one shot, back up, wait for your team to get things started.
Yeah.
Robin's the pick who's saying, I'm going to go and hopefully I can do it on my own and my team will catch up eventually. And he plays that very well when he was allowed to make his way into that back line. Plays like this, just so disruptive when the king is allowed to ascend the throne. Loved it. Loved it from the Highland Ravens. But that slow play has got me concerned for them as they move into the group stages, as they start to line up against some of these other SPL talents or maybe some of the North American SCC teams. Feels like if it takes you 15, 20 minutes of poking and prodding at one bird, some other squads might be able to punish you for it.
Yeah, we've seen it happen. Masters, Summer Masters, the Spring Masters. Definitely conversations. I think that the Ravens, and admittedly a little bit of Hex Mambo, but maybe not so much Hex Mambo given what we've seen them do this weekend, are going to have to worry about. But the Ravens join the #1 seed and moving forward and taking the top 2 spots here in the championship for the EU SCC. 45,000 damage there from Angry as well.
My man was putting up damage the entire set.
Almost, I mean, at least for a majority of the Scorpions. Pretty much double any of them, save for Davy. And if you take Davy out of the equation, honestly, and this is quick maths, don't do it, might actually have a little bit more than at least 3 of them combined. So really good work from Angry and from the Ravens to be able to win this game. And again, Mifflin, it was a big deal. Scorpions are eliminated. Their Season 9 ended here. And that's the last time that we're going to see them. Maybe this team as a whole, but
Scorpions.
this Scorpion squad, yeah, that we're going to see for a little bit. The Ravens, on the other side, get to come back in a few weeks, right? We'll see them, I believe it's January 6th through 8th that we get to see, to take a look at the bracket for those of you who are maybe tuning in, wondering what you had missed out on and the path that it took to get here. Hex Mambo qualified earlier in match 14. Match 15 here is the Ravens, after taking a loss earlier today even, to Hex Mambo, beating out the Wargs, unfortunately coming in 4th here, and the Scorpions taking that 3rd place spot. I think a lot of interesting things to see in the EU SCC, but a lot of that will be potentially next year that we get to see any of them. If you're going to be looking towards where these teams are going, if you're trying to follow them, if you're wondering where Mambo, where Ravens, where you get to see them again, well, it is going to be there in the 5th through 8th group stage area. 4 more teams will qualify from that to Worlds. 6 of them have been found. The other 2 are going to be showing up December 15th through 18th when we do the Road to Worlds North America, the NA SCC Championship, as it would so be deemed. The top 2 semi-pro teams will move on to that group stage, fill out the top 8. Top 4 of those 8 go to Worlds the next weekend, play against the Leviathans, Kings, Dragons, and Bolts that are already waiting for them. So a lot of teams still to be eliminated, and a lot of Smite still to be played. But Mifflin, we're on the horizon. I can see it. The sun for some of these teams is setting.
Sun's set,
Or
straight
been
up.
set,
Yeah,
actually, yeah,
it's
some of
gone.
them.
Moon's up. Just to reiterate once more, keep it as simple as possible. The teams that have won out in the EU SCC Championship here, your 1st and 2nd seed, I'm talking about the Ravens, I'm talking about Mambo, they have not quite made it to Worlds. They first have to go through the qualifiers.
One more thing.
Make their way through some of these SPL teams or potentially some of their contemporaries in the North American SCC. That will be a LAN event. They will be coming out to play in our Georgia studio. Win there, get top 2 in some of your groups. Might just go to Arlington, Texas, play in the esports arena.
Nice to come visit for a week and earn a trip to Worlds, then potentially show some sort of strength. That'd be a fun weekend, what these teams are going to have. But Mifflin, it is not just Europe. North America also going to be playing for that again. We have 6 of those teams. My brain just demolished that number. I was like, there's 8 teams.
It's a lot of Smite this week.
There were 4 SPL, 2 EU. What number? That's 6, as it turns out. And so it's going to be up to North America, who is going to go through in a very similar bracket. You'll actually recognize these 2 groups playing up against each other. You will see the Hounds, the Wardens, the Weavers, and the SO team. That's the Open Circuit team.
That's
there we
right.
go. That is coming in. If we pull up, that's
pull up,
Donut
yeah.
Doug, Deepest Bald, Soul Reaper, Panda Turtle, Uzzy, who are going to be playing here in Group A. And of course, Group B will be the remaining SCC teams, and then Blubber Bottoms will be playing against them. Sages, Tanuki, Storm, and that's Antics, Promise, Briz, Eleon, and Slash. A lot of familiar names there in the open circuit squads that are showing up. And it's North America, Mifflin. So that means things are always going to be spicy. And the Hounds may be the only team on that list that you can have some faith and consistency in. Everything is topsy-turvy in NA, to the point where I think even this last phase was one of the most competitive that they've had.
Yeah, I mean, there was a period where NA was very similar to EU and that top team was just dominant through and through. Since then, it's become a little bit more competitive as a region. North America very strong because of the rank scene of the SPL just kind of being North America based. It means you get a little bit more practice here on our soil. But I am very excited to see as we move forward. There's a lot of talent over there. I love every opportunity we get to see North America play against EU. We haven't got too many opportunities this year. This, I believe, is the first time they've really lined up against each other well. So keep your eyes peeled. If you're SCC fans, no better time than the present.
That means we have 2 more teams to qualify, 4 more days of Smite before 2022 closes out. We'll see who's going to be joining in the SWC group stages from North America on Thursday. Make sure you're tuning in at 11 a.m. From myself, from Mifflin, of course, everyone here in production, thanks for tuning in. We'll see you Thursday.